Yes, indeed, folks. Another Thursday, another Dynamite review. Quite the time, right? WrestleMania weekend, I should say, underway. Lots going on, 101 shows, about 2 or 3 good matches. And we are here to review last night's Dynamite, which was an interesting one, folks. This is going to be quite the episode, I think. I think we may have booked the perfect guest for an occasion like this. But we'll get to that in a moment. First things first, as always, folks, please do give us the like, the subscribe, all that good stuff. And get active in the chat. Super chats if you're feeling generous. It is WrestleMania weekend after all. We have many subscription services and pay-per-view events to purchase. So show us some love in the chat. Not our usual lineup, but as always, we do have Charlie of Great Britain and WrestlePurists in the house. Chuck, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. Taking some time out of my busy schedule this week. Oh my god. There's a lot of shows on, and I've already watched like 3 of them in full, and I'm already feeling it. Jesus. But yeah, I know. The Stardom show was a lot of fun though, so I do recommend that one if any of you have time this weekend to watch it. But no, feeling pretty good. Done some writing today as well. It's going to be a busy weekend, but I'm here for the Dynamite review, and it's going to be funny. That is the only way I can describe it, because it was a very controversial episode of Dynamite based on the Twitter timeline. So.
Yeah, there was a great kind of range of stuff on this show, and then the quality swings were quite violent, as we'll get to. But again, we do have a very special guest, and I don't think you've seen him before on the channel. A close personal friend of mine from Great Britain. I don't even know if he's done a podcast before, but I thought he was the right man for the job. So, Montel WP, how are you tonight, mate?
I am in the mood to review AEW Dynamite tonight. I'm in a good mood. That could change throughout the course of this podcast, depending on how the live chat treat me. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, Joe.
We sure will. I'm on red alert here, to be honest, because I'm gonna establish my position now and we'll see where it goes from here. I thought this show was okay, and I thought we had a lot of good and some bad. I'm not as certain that. Well, I think one of my co-hosts agrees with that assessment. I'm pretty sure the other one does not agree with that assessment. I think we'll see that as the night develops. Before we get into the show, though, Chuck, head of Super Chats tonight, what are we saying in the chat? What's the Super Chats thus far? Take it away.
We have got a couple of Super Chats to get through. Karan, 200 rupees. I'm very bad current. Wow, currencies, my god. Weakest Dynamite of the year. Great closing angle outside of that one line. But man, what a weird way to start. Jericho Hook's still a thing, and I don't even like Jay White, but who did he piss off? My god. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into all of that and more, but that's been a consensus, right? Weakest Dynamite of the year. I'd have to reflect. I do think there are a couple shows that were also thin, but those ones didn't have a miss as big as this one did, right?
Yeah,
but
they've been rolling this year as well, man. So even if this was I'm in the same boat as Joe in the sense that I'd have to look back to make sure,
Right.
But even if this was the weakest Dynamite of the year, it wasn't a horrendous show,
right? I didn't think so. Again, as we'll go through, there is a lot to like on the show. It's just I think the conversation was dominated by a couple of things that weren't as positive is the point. But we appreciate the super chat.
Of course, as always. Cran, another 100 rupees, thank you. On positives, Willow killed that live promo, and Ospreay Hobbs was a great TV match. Get the feeling Brian may be winning with Callis shenanigans. We'll discuss it, but I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I co-sign across the board there, honestly. Willow Nightingale, honestly, of all the positives, that may be the one that's most actually encouraging moving forward, right?
Yeah.
If that's a play call we can go to often, the Willow babyface live promo, that'd be good for the show. So I agree.
Lobo MBS 499 super chat. Jay White feuding with the Miz doesn't sound so bad now in hindsight. That's quite spiteful.
I think it's incredible. That imaginary feud.
Chat,
Dude, that imaginary feud gets brought up every time, and it's like
it's always the Miz. It don't matter if it's Jay White. It doesn't matter if it's MJF. It doesn't matter if it was Will Ospreay a few months ago. It doesn't matter who it is. It's the Miz. That is AEW fans go to scare the WWE fans of who they might potentially face. So,
it does pop me, but we'll discuss. I'll say now we'll discuss the Jay White usage within the parameters of AEW rather than just should he have actually gone elsewhere? Because at this point, that's what's done is done, right? But we'll talk about his usage nonetheless later tonight.
Got 6-star, 199 super chat. Thank you. Rossi meeting up with Triple H. Don't hit me up. There has been some very funny pictures on the timeline today.
Well, all Rossi pictures are funny pictures, right? That's kind of the beauty. But you are right. These have been new highs and swinging big. I think this is going to be. I think we're going to get a moment this weekend with Rossi, which could be very funny.
It's going to be shown really in the crowd at Stand and Deliver. Like,
You know what really pops me about Rossi, even though it's not really Rossi, it's Jamie from the website. Head writer at WrestlePurists, got to plug him in there, you know what I mean? He's so loyal to Rossi. He's just letting all this stuff today just, go over him. He's standing. I think he'd done a meme earlier where he was saying Rossi was in the crosshairs of the woke mob.
He's been killing it. It's like it's Jamie, 6-star, and Jordan Partu. Those are like the three, the Rossi loyalists.
Look,
the Rossi commentators.
There is a chance that we are like 40 hours or so away from Rossi being introduced at a show that Booker T is on color commentary for, and that is where the money is at, right? Like Nick Joseph explaining who Rossi is and then being like, Booker, what do you think? Could create one of the greatest moments in wrestling history. So lock in on that one, folks. Anything could happen.
Oh, that's going to be up and down the timeline. I cannot wait. Darren Walker, £5 super chat. Great to see a young talent like Billy Gunn get a good push. Can't wait for AEW World title shot in his hometown soon.
Just Darren Walker is just a long term. He's been on this villain arc for a while. Darren Walker has just menacing in the live chat, man.
He's the top heel. He's the top heel.
He's got money to throw around, making us say these things. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Oh, Flomboli, $5 super chat. Thank you. We will never break the shackles of Punk versus AEW discourse. God help us all. Yeah, I'm over it. Have been over it.
Yeah,
loads of people. Yeah,
go on.
Loads of people are over it. It's just and I feel like this comment of like, oh guys, how is this still a conversation? Like normally that is kind of like fair to say, if that makes sense, because usually it'll be like the dumbest thing, like someone will like something on Instagram and someone will screenshot it, and it's like the whole day of discourse. Whereas like at least this week there's something kind of substantial to it. Like CM Punk did a 2-hour podcast, do you know what I mean? And he was actually I guess he said what he felt like he could say, do you know what I mean? So it's like, at least you've got his side of events to kind of discourse about,
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I'm exhausted by the kind of discourse, as you mentioned, of like the back and forth war. But I do agree with you that this at least was like actual news. It wasn't just, has this guy fallen out with CM Punk? Well, that actually happened too, but nonetheless, you get my point. Never mind, ignore me. Carry on.
Shytown Spurs, $2 super chat. Cole Palmer, bloody hell. I don't know what this is referencing.
He's playing for the Chelsea, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is probably why my brother was screaming at the TV earlier.
Oh, he's a star boy, I tell you. You got Takeshita, you got the MJFs, who else we got? We got Yuma Anzai, we've got
Billy Gunn.
And you got Cole Palmer. So that's the sort of talent we're talking about.
So it's a nice super chat to show Montgomery some love, I must say. It's nice.
It is. Yeah. We appreciate Showtime.
Yes, always. Anjam PN, $2 super chat. Monty ready with the fresh cut in Jay White wrong. What?
Oh man. I don't know if it'll be a full on rant. I appreciate that. Thank you, Anjan. Thank you, Joe. Charlie for reading the super chat. Yeah, man. It was time. I always wear a hat on these podcasts because it's so much easier. But like, my hair was getting disgracefully long. I had an afro, There was no like sugarcoating it. And that's when I have like a blatant afro. That's when it just like
you draw the line. Yeah.
Let's get fade. Fuck it. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to provide a full-on Jay White rant that maybe some people might want, but I've got things to say.
I think we all do on that one. I think we all do, right? That is, yeah. Here's what it is. We'll get to it.
Kyle, 20 pesos. TBS division, Mercedes, sad face. Listen, man, brand synergy.
TBS division. Yeah. The belt is not really my concern. I do have some concerns. The belt isn't really it. I'm very hesitant on the Mercedes thing because I am always trying to drill into my. It's been 4 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like it's been bad. It hasn't been bad, but it's just it doesn't feel like it's like these big booming ideas. It doesn't feel like
anything.
Exactly. Like it's just you get, right? Like it's not. When I say it's not been bad, I mean the content itself is fine.
Yeah.
Especially this week. Like she had a tiny promo and it was fine. But it's like it feels like there should be there should be bigger ideas, right? There should be if she's not cleared, then I guess they've put themselves in a weird spot, I should say.
It just all feels a bit insignificant, doesn't it? It's like, okay, at least last night we kind of got something in the sense of like, if someone asked me today, like, what did Mercedes do last night? I can say she announced that she's going to be wrestling in 2 months.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But so there's at least something coming out of it. But she debuted in Boston at the start of March. Well, what was it, like the 10th of March or some shit like that? And what Joe said, week 4, pretty much agree with a lot of what Joe said. It's just we're on 4th week, and it's kind of I'm seeing Mercedes fans dying for that match graphic, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like just any match graphic at this point, they just want to see it do something. So, and like Joe said, the content that we're getting, it's not bad. Like, I'll pop us just as much as anyone to see Mercedes just show up in a new outfit and wig and shit, and she'll do a fucking outfit change mid-show, and she'll cut a promo, and she'll get the big parts, and she can hit her entrance. Like, I'll pop for that, but give me something with a bit more meat to it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna do it, and you are gonna pad out the time till Double or Nothing, let's say, for example, let's say it's hypothetically she isn't cleared, and we know that for a fact, sort of thing, then it's like, how do you pad out all that time, bro? Like, what?
And it's hard because you're making Willow's presumed title win less central just by default, right? It's it's now about let's see what happens when Willow gets this belt and wrestles Mercedes. Which, to be clear, I like that match more than the Julia match, but at the same time, it's a weird one. It feels like. I think because she maybe isn't cleared, again, that's a guess, folks. But if she isn't cleared, I think their approach has been, let's put her with a feud that can exist without her. But the issue with that is she's kind of looming over it now, right?
Yeah.
And it's like there's positives to that, but there's also negatives. So I think, but we'll talk in more detail, folks.
I guess that's for the actual super chat. The division thing, the TBS thing, doesn't really bother me as long as the TBS is still presented in a way that it's being uplifted with Mercedes. At the moment, it feels like one of the main things on the show. If that continues, I don't care what belt it is. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously, eventually, you want her to be decent. I obviously wanted her to be the centerpiece of the fucking division yesterday. Right. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. A lot of people already know how I feel about Tony being the main, the face of the division sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So, but TBS, I'm not going to complain if she makes that about, main event and all these kind of things. So.
And that could easily still happen, right? Again, early days here, folks. We'll see how it develops.
My goodness. Super chats are rolling in. Anjam PN, $2 super chat again, thank you. Rock 2 hours late, crowd still pops. #, rock for champ. It's the manner.
Did you see my quote tweet?
We got a goosebumps from Joe Hulbert.
Did you see my quote tweet about Dwayne being late to the access thing?
No, honestly, I tweeted it on the WrestlePurists account, and I don't think I've looked at Twitter since.
Someone tweeted Dwayne is 45 minutes late and people are getting mad, and I quote tweeted with "bad bitch."
Yeah, I did see that.
I'll stick by what I said there.
It was nearly 2 hours late, so.
What do you want,
bro? Poor guy, that Rock. Ben Dixon, $5 Australian, I'm going to assume. Monty, who on the WrestlePurists roster would be your go-to for an opening show pro-purist rant?
Right,
that's a good question, actually. That's a really good question.
Who could I nominate for such a thing? Do they have to write the speech, or do you two have to tell me this now? Like,
I think it's got to be off the top, like Cope did.
Yeah.
Because Cope was clearly
I've
just
got to pick someone to just go out there and wing it.
It's just talk grabs, talk branding. I think AO should be the.
I was gonna say AO is kind of the obvious choice.
Because AO is also.
It's not like AO would do like a good job. Like he'd rally the troops up, you know. Because I'm seeing the chat now, it's like he's, you know, like he could rally up the troops, but there would be something funny about sending Hulbert out there, just kind of shrugging his shoulders.
We try our best. To be fair, my one would be closer to what Copeland did, right? Like I would say WrestleZone and someone would boo, and I go, "Hey man, that ain't my point." You know, we're all in this. We're all in this game. You know, what about Manny the Hooper? Just doing the shrug over and over again.
Not off the top of his head. We'd get cancelled.
Man, he would get 90 seconds in and would not have a great crowd and would just yell the fucking wokes, Yeah. No, you haven't got a great roster for this, to be honest, bro.
Need promo, guys.
Need promo.
Yeah, I feels like an easy one. EB feels like kind of an easy one, but yeah, I do feel like
he would chat so long he'd lose the point.
Yeah, he could go off on a tangent. So like AO is safer in that regard. AO could also get us thrown off the air.
I think if Rob had the right sort of guidance on it,
No.
No, you not reckon?
You can't let Rob. You can't let Rob Sir Paragraph loose with a mic. Yeah, I think the whole option pops, man. You know, just kind of hands in his pockets. You know,
I like it. I can see.
All right,
that's a good question.
Yeah, that was a funny question. Yazara Hart, $4.99 super chat. Willing to offer money, blood, and throat, pause, to get Jericho, Tony, and the Acclaimed off my TV. I've had enough. I mean, that's kind of crazy, but
man, I get the Tony beef, but there's levels in that. Those three names to me is like
there's actually quite a tier list there. It's like Jericho is just like get the fuck out of here. Then like Tony's like I don't hate her on TV or anything. I just think if you're having someone so gimmicky in the division that you're trying to center around Mercedes, like having someone so gimmicky as well, champion isn't ideal. And even without Mercedes, we've spoke about it. I'm sure people have heard us speak about it. It's like super gimmicky champion as your world champion's a bit, it's a bit what. So like, but I do think she's like a good wrestler, even though some of her matches recently haven't been great. Then the Acclaimed, it's like I've no interest in Caster. Billy Gunn is 60 years old and Bones is good. So it's like
the act of the Acclaim definitely does feel like spent force, right? It does feel like it's totally run its course, which that happens, dude. Where are we at now with the Acclaim? How long have they been a thing? 2-3 years?
They've been
like
a thing
first
for
or second
ages.
episode of Dark, so
yeah, they've been a thing for ages. But like when it really started picking up when they went on that when they got that feud with Swerve and Keith Lee.
Which was late 2022. It's like
they've had 18 months.
It's
and that's if we're calling it to now, and it definitely hasn't been till now. Do you know what I mean? So.
Monty, you did a Monday Night Wars, Actually did a rewatch. I know you did WCW, you did WF stuff, right? And it's like, dude, that happened. Like, acts would catch fire, and then it would be time for those acts to move to something else. I do think that's where we're at with them. I think it's a shame they didn't do more as an actual tag team.
The Godfather became the Good Father.
Bro, it is what it is, right?
Scissoring might have to become, I don't know, doing your taxes.
Are you saying they should bring in Stevie Richards?
Oh man, I enjoy his breakdowns. Yeah. When someone in AEW does a botch and he's got the screen behind him, and he's like, "Oh, this is what happened there."
Anyway, I appreciate the super chat.
As always. Jamie Ross, one of our own, £5 super chat. Can't wait for the biggest WrestleMania of all time. Wrestling is cool again. Hashtag stand up for WWE. Hashtag Rossi Okawa. Hashtag Lil Wayne.
That'd be nice.
Oh, dear.
Oh man, they're getting the celebrities in this show though. Wrestling is
Yeah.
cool again, and they are trying to really hammer that home. You know, you got Dwayne The Rock Johnson telling us every week, and in every promo, and every Instagram post, and every Twitter post, and every chance he can get. Triple H is announcing urban music acts, you know, left, right, and centre. Lil Wayne, you know.
Dude, I saw a clip from because they had Triple H doing the sneaker deal, right? Where like you go
Mhm.
and like you could tell he knew very much his lane that he could operate with him without making himself sound like insane. And from what I heard of the interview, he actually did a good job of being like, "Yeah, I know what's going on. You know? I'm a little bit old, but I got it. I understand. Hey, Uso, you know." It's very pop me, but yeah, the celebrity stuff's a big part of WrestleMania. In all seriousness, it's always fun.
Mhm.
Not always, but it can be fun.
It makes it. It's part of the ingredients that
Yeah.
make WrestleMania, isn't it?
Always
From day
has.
one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Of course. 6-star 199. Thank you again. Stand up for Rossi Ogawa. And then Andrew echoes that sentiment. So God bless.
I like Rusty, man. I don't know him, you know.
Honestly, imagine that fucking morning when we ran a watch along because he's got Liv Morgan to come over and work as a representative of the WWF, and you and I are like the only two people. We do a watch along, cup of tea each at 10 a.m., brother.
Oh, beautiful.
Cork and Hall's never going to look so good.
Couple
God bless.
bickies.
Oh, yeah. When he books Nia Jax, and you and I are there.
Oh, mate. Irresistible.
I was going to ask you, would you have Nia Jax wrestle? But that's a whole nother topic.
All of them?
Yeah. All of them.
Yes.
All of them. Big Nia Jax fan, man.
Yeah. Kyle, 50 pesos. I understand the timing is bad and Mercedes deserve the rollout, but personally, selfishly, if she was never cleared, wish they would waited till Dynasty. Don't disagree.
Yeah. Do we actually have, like, what is the reporting on her being cleared? Is that like a...
There isn't any?
There isn't any?
No one knows.
Okay, good. Because I was wondering it was...
And the closest that... Like Mercedes herself has said she's 100% healthy, but no one said that, like, you know, she's medically cleared. No one, like, as far as I'm aware, Sean or Dave or Mike Johnson or anyone on the fringes, no one's reported like Mercedes has been 100% medically cleared by AEW's. That, like, I've not seen that anywhere. So
just, it's hard to believe she is, right? If Double or Nothing is actually going to be the match, like, it's just no way. There's no way that would be a purposeful decision. Even if you love Mercedes promos, that's still like 10 weeks between debut. But then the chat is right. She did do some physicality.
Yeah, but she didn't bump.
No, but her finish is like kind of a bump, right? Like
but also, I don't mean this in like a tribalistic way either, but like this isn't WWE. Like AEW have let people who aren't cleared do physical shit in the van. We've seen it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas by contrast, I think I was talking to someone about this the other week. Like, by contrast, like WWE wouldn't even let Dakota Kai get in the ring until she was fucking clear. If there was going to be any physicality in that segment, you know. So like, there is just because she's done a move or something doesn't necessarily mean that she's definitely cleared because the past has taught us that, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good call.
Yeah, indeed.
Obviously, we'll talk about it a bit more later, but
yeah,
it's an interesting one.
And Jampien, another $2 super chat. Thank you. Y'all about to go head to head with Nigel Magic Show. Hashtag tricks.
Is that actually on streaming? Damn it. Is he streaming it anywhere or is it just live?
I think it's just live. I haven't seen anyone advertising the stream for it.
Right, yeah, because I was wondering because I've heard it's a great show.
I've had a lot of good things about it.
Well, you know, I've got as far as like things like that goes, I've got a task for the chat if anyone can do this for me. Sami Zayn's been announced for the Netflix comedy festival thing. Sold out already. He announced it like yesterday. Tweeted early. It's sold out already.
Jesus.
Do you think is that do they stream those things or is it just live?
No idea.
I'm sure it's just like a festival that you go and see a bunch of stand-up comics. But I don't know if they record any of the sets or not because I'm fascinated by that.
I'm intrigued by
Yeah,
that.
I'm a huge stand-up fan, So it's like it pops me that Roddy Piper did a bit of stand-up towards the end, and there is little Mick Foley's done stuff like that. Undertaker's got his one-man show, and there is kind of elements of stuff, So it always fascinates me to see how they can kind of translate because they've all got great stories. The wrestlers, do you know what I mean?
That's mostly what I mean.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So it's how good are they at telling those stories?
Yeah, because Foley's one was very much like. If you're a fan of Mick Foley, come and hear me tell these stories, which is cool.
Yeah.
I remember him talking about how initially he was trying to do conventional stand-up, and he quickly realized just use the stories. I don't know what Sammy's. I'm right. You're right. That is intriguing, though. Good call. I don't know. Tell us, folks, in the chat.
Please do. Caden Lee of the Performance Center, $1.99 super chat. Did Jay White pee on TK's shoes? What the earth? Yeah, that's a lot of a sentiment I'm seeing on Twitter as well, to be honest. People are very confused about Jay White. We'll get there.
We certainly will. A lot of super chats tonight, Chuck. When Monty's in the house, they always be.
They're rolling in. I keep thinking I'm caught up and then another freak coming. I'm like, all right. Will Chisholm, $5 super chat. What did Jay White do to Tony Khan last night? Was just sad. He couldn't handle 60-year-old Billy Gunn. It was, yeah.
Choices were made.
Oh, things. These just. We'll get to it.
We will. Eventually, promise, folks. Eventually, we
will get to it. So, Jizzle, $5 super chat. Thank you. I'm mostly fine with the use of Mercedes so far. Has done a tremendous job elevating the women's mid-card division in a short time. Good for run incoming.
Of course you are, Sir Jizzle. We know your game.
Run is we know your game is crazy. We know.
I'm not expecting Sir Jizzle to come up on here and be like, you know what, it's been mid. That's just not happening, is it? But yeah, again, as a fan of Mercedes, not as big as you, Sir Jizzle, I do think that there is it's been good. The segments in a vacuum have been good. It's just it's not significant enough, especially when. We got Double or Nothing potentially being a first match, which is another what? How far away is it? Wait, does anyone know what's the actual date for?
Dude, it's got to be 6-7 weeks, right? It has to be.
Yeah, so it's already been 11. Yeah, 11. It's 11 weeks from start to finish, as in her debut. To we're talking 10, 11 weeks, bro. It's crazy. So.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to the actual segment.
Yeah.
I've got a few ideas. I bounced some of them off Charlie yesterday.
You got ideas? Okay.
We had a bit of a chat about it last night.
Oh shit! Okay, all right, cool.
Where are we at? Cody Wheels, $1.99. Lows of 38. I'm assuming that's Fahrenheit. Saturday night. The bald head steam will rule.
I love that shit. It pops me loads, man.
Dude, when I read Dwayne talking about circumference of the ring earlier, I swear I
messaged you immediately.
Yeah.
Joe, this ESPN article, Dwayne's talking about being a ring general. And
he had a quote where he goes, I'm very fortunate because I'm lucky enough to be somewhat of a ring general. Unhinged thing to say about yourself. Right. I'm very fortunate is a crazy way to describe your own talent. But...
Yeah, that's how he dressed it because he's called himself a ring general before. I'm sure I've heard that before.
He said it before.
But the way he dressed it today, in the interview that dropped this morning from ESPN, was just.
I'm somewhat of a ring general. Really, I'm excited. I am excited.
Mm-hmm. Be a good time. Will Chisholm, $10 super chat. Thank you very much. When I saw the news about Julia maybe at WrestleMania watching the show, and then I see Rossi taking pictures with WWE talent, for me, that's too on the nose. They didn't even try to fake it, lol. I don't think they're trying to fake. I don't know what you think they're trying to fake. They're just at WrestleMania.
Will always approaches this story like he's a detective.
Yeah, he's a beast. You never know what way it's gonna go. You know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what's funny. Nick Khan was a Bloodsport.
Yes, he was.
Oh
I
my
just
god.
see the
Dude.
tweet.
Caden Lee said in a live chat that Lauderdale posted a picture with Nick Khan, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
That
think
I
he
haven't
saw-
seen.
And
Do you think he saw Timothy Thatcher and was like, "Oh shit, new opponent for Cody Rhodes"? You know, like,
Let's get
Leave
it
Tim
going.
Thatcher out
Let's
of
get
it.
it cooking.
I
My
love Tim
favourite
Thatcher.
British non-Brit.
We know you do, Joe. We know.
Dude, I was doing a show on the Late Night Green and they were talking about Dynamite, and I was like, "Guys, I'm going to be back in a minute. Timothy Thatcher's on." And I legitimately left the stream so I could go and watch Timothy Thatcher.
That's so real. I really like Timothy Thatcher. He's a really nice guy.
He's a very good wrestler.
Yeah,
He is, man. Good work.
very much. Right, last super chat for now. That was quite a lot. Brainbuster $4.99. If it was Bob Holly instead of Bill Gunn, y'all wouldn't be complaining. Hashtag stand up for Billy.
True. Absolutely true. Hypocrisy,
You got
folks, is
it.
what it is. If they booked Bob Holly versus Jay White, I would book a
would
plane
be
ticket, I think. I'd fly it to Dynamite. Especially if it was done cold, like without any inkling it was going to happen. They're just like,
Yeah.
up next, Jay White is going to wrestle another 6-year-old WF mid-carder, Bob Holly, you know? Like, yeah, good shit.
God, that would be right. That would be something. One more for now. Hush.
Nope.
$1.99. DJ's Manor got to Big Billy Bury the Young. Hashtag fucking start asterisks. Chills. Wow. I
DJ's Manor
butchered
got
that.
to big... What? Oh, Billy Gunn. Sorry, what the fuck? I'm sorry, that was my fault too. I didn't understand what they were saying either. I was like,
We need the commas and shit, you know.
Yeah, the switch from lowercase to
DJ's
uppercase. I
man
was
got
like, I
to
have
Big
no idea.
Billy. Then you could have
To
put a
Big
full
Billy,
stop.
very
Anyway,
young.
it don't matter.
it's true though.
Thanks
Good
for the
call.
super chat.
There it is.
Oh,
All right,
God,
should we review Dynamite?
Yeah, we'll caught up. We probably
Apparently,
should.
that's what the title of this podcast is. So
Adam
We're
Copeland
half
came
an hour
out.
in.
Adam Copeland came out, and he goes, "I'm not here with the belt. I'm here just as Adam tonight." And I thought, "Oh no!"
like
he's not Adam. Yeah, I know.
like his name on the roster isn't Adam Copeland.
And he said
the
there's been a
mask
lot of
is
negative,
off.
there's been a lot of negative BS. And he said, "Screw that. Let's focus on the positives." And he went into a big speech that we've heard Copeland kind of give before in other settings, right? He's talked about this on like Twitter and he's in media, and like, I don't mean this dismissively because he means well, but it's basically like the enjoy all wrestling thing, right? Like there's a lot to watch, enjoy it all.
Yeah.
And I completely believe him when he said he asked for this time, because I've heard him say similar before, as I just said. But it's like, I get it. Like, I agree. Like, yeah, let's enjoy the wrestling. I think it's good too, Adam. Like, I agree. It's a cool sentiment. His delivery's fine. It was hard to believe this was needed on the show, though, really. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know if this was necessary. Now, somehow they will say it definitely was necessary, but I don't think the Punk stuff was. I don't know, man. This felt this felt really like an overreaction to me to do on the TV show. That's just me, Chuck. What did you think of the opening segment?
In a vacuum, I had no issues with it, but the timing and the choice of person for it was really fucking funny to me, which is kind of unfortunate. But Adam Copeland's Adam Copeland. He's gonna go out and say wherever he wants. To be honest, like I don't think TK necessarily is gonna stop him. If he told Tony that he wants to go out there and cut a love all wrestling, we're here to do what we do sort of promo, TK's not gonna say no to that. I just don't think like it was needed on this show. Like the two matches after kind of spoke for AEW themselves. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what I think.
It was a weird vibe. I don't know.
And it's like the other problem with it is the people that are at the show and watching the show like already like most certainly agree. You know,
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if anyone out there was watching and was like, "He's right." Let me really. I think you're kind of preaching to the choir. Again, I didn't think it was like terrible. It was just kind of a weird feeling, Monty. Right? This is a strange choice. I thought.
Fucking very strange, mate. But this was bizarre. This was one of the most bizarre things I've done in a minute, to be honest. But it wasn't the most bizarre thing on this show, hilariously. So, I agree with a few of the points in the sense of like, yeah, it didn't feel necessary. I don't agree with the sentiment. Because I
Really?
think,
You don't enjoy wrestling, bro?
bro, if I'm a fan, do you know what I mean? I know when he was doing the whole like, I'm a fan, you're a fan, whether you tweet hate comments or whatever, you know what I mean? Like we all love wrestling, guys, and I love Crockett Promotions, and I saw Owen Hart's first match, and it's like it's so like the number one, like, and I'm not even talking like just WWE, but like the number one would never like do this in any sport, would they?
Yeah, I
You know
get
what I'm
what you mean.
saying? It's so runners up. It's so, do you know what I mean? And I feel
Yeah.
like it just echoes that, and to the people that think it anyway are just gonna think it more. Than the people who are already on your side. Like you said, you kind of preach into like you don't need to tell them to like all wrestling because that audience is the audience that does
Yeah.
like wrestling outside of WWE. Do you know, like that's why they're there. Like, you know what I mean? So it's not necessary. Then again, I think the sentiment just kind of makes them look a little bit like losers, to be honest. Especially in what most assume it's in retaliation to, which would be the CM Punk comments and how that interview went with Ariel on the MMA Hour, which I also think is kind of like, what's the word, like tone deaf in the sense of that, like, bro, you released fucking 10 people yesterday. So when you've got Adam Copeland out there, like, I know there's been a lot of people spewing negativity. It's like, bro, you released 10 people yet. Like, what? It's not just, that's not the only negativity going around. Some of it's self-inflicted and it has nothing to do with me or anyone else or CM Punk on a podcast or anyone tweeting or like, it has nothing. That's negativity that you put out there at a terrible time when you already had a kind of negative kind of spin going on that week anyway. So it's just like, I do think the sentiment was like, as well as it being unnecessary, I don't really agree that he should be like out there saying it, and I don't even really agree with it. Was that like from an AEW point of view? It's just like, what are you trying to achieve with that?
I guess what I meant when I said I agree with the sentiment, it's more like if I just wrote the speech down in a vacuum, it's not like a crazy thing he's saying, right? He's basically just saying, "What's your wrestling?" quote unquote. But I agree with you, yeah, placement wise, and it's also like the fact that his message is just like all of it's good. It is kind of, it's like leave us alone, you know. It's like it's not that big a deal, bro. Like, and look, I have no doubt. I'm sure they see a lot more of it than I do. I'm sure there's a million and one dumb things said online, but it's TV, bro. Like, who gives a shit, you know? I don't know.
It's so gotten to, man. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's like you see a lot of people who do just want the best for AEW, like in reacting to CM Punk's comments on Monday, like whether it's friends in group chats, messages on the timeline, however you talk to your friends in wrestling. It's a lot of them, like, you know, I hope there isn't like a campaign from AEW wrestlers with a hashtag in it. What happened? You know what I mean? Like you have like 10 talents, like, oh, I love AEW. AEW is the best actually, and it's just like, bro,
Yeah.
what? Why? You just look gotten to. Then like, especially like when it's like Sammy Guevara getting it popping off. It's just like,
Well, I think Chuck was right though to say like the two matches they led with, you could have just had Ospreay come out to lead the show, right? Like it's
let your wrestling do the talking.
and it can. That's the thing too. They are capable of doing cards every week that speak for themselves. We've seen it. Yeah.
It speaks louder as well, I think, to that audience. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it's like The Rock will go out and do a 45-minute promo angle this week, and it's like, yeah, we'll all pop through it. It's great, but it's different. Whereas AEW can be like, you know what? Fuck that noise. Ospreay, Danielson. That's our first 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Pick your poison. You're either into that.
We've actually talked a lot over the last couple months, I think mostly off the air, about branding yourself that way. I actually like the wear the best wrestle thing. You just have to, you know, you have to follow through.
Scream it at me and tell me that it's okay to like it and say that I can like both companies like a fucking loser. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think it's just like loser second place mentality. A lot of this promo, you know, even if not even from Copeland himself, like I get kind of wanting to go out there and be like, you know what, I want to. But it's like if you're Tony, it's like, okay, you can have him open the show, but you know, at least figure out what he's going to say and think about how that may come across. Because the reaction I've seen, like, some people are like, Adam Copeland's a great veteran for this. Like, but that was a very small percentage of the reaction I was seeing. I was seeing a lot of
Really?
people saying a lot of what we was basically saying, like, it looks gotten to, it was unnecessary, even though it wasn't terribly delivered or anything. It just wasn't necessary. We didn't need this. It makes us look gotten to, blah, 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 blah. So it's just, I don't know, man. I think I was, I'm watching it, Joe, and I'm like, all right, he's gonna get started with, let's go AEW, rah, rah, rah. And then it's going to be like, and next week or later on tonight, I'm doing an open chat or whatever the fuck. He's going to call. So he didn't. He just like, yeah, AEW good. Here's Will Ospreay.
I forgot you mispronounced it.
It had no real point. It had no real point, and it's how to open the show. Craziness.
Monty's on fire tonight, bro. he's making me feel like more strongly about something. But initially, I was like, "That seemed dumb." He's so fired up. I'm like, you know what? He might be on something. I don't know, man. I'll say this: I feel better about it because you can tell it was like a cope. What I mean by that, folks, is I absolutely do believe this was like he scrolled his timeline and was like, "Let me fucking teach the kids about."
Don't worry, guys.
Yeah,
I've got this.
That is more charming to me than like, let's pick someone on the roster to defend us. That mean it's better though, folks. So I don't really disagree with Montel, even if he's on fire here at the end of our opening segment.
Someone I seen a tweet pop it. It was like, imagine if Seth Rollins did this on SmackDown after the WWE releases. And he's like, bro, I hate, you know me, like, I hate doing the actual. Oh, imagine if AEW did this when WWE just smoked crack, and when WWE just imagine if but like just. Not even like, oh, let's do this to compare him, but just the idea of Seth doing that was just hilarious to me, you know? But yeah, man. Wow. Someone in the chat said a lot of the people that were criticizing it were like bad faithers. It's like, bro, honestly, that I'm talking about people that like I talk to and shit, and people that I see on the timeline commonly that are mutuals and that, we're not just like random accounts. I don't really take notice of them anyway, to be honest. So, you know, it was silly, wasn't it?
It was a little bit silly.
I'm trying the whole thing with it was silly, really, wasn't it?
It was silly. It was unnecessary. He didn't help anyone. It just caused discourse, and it brought the conversation to light again. I'm seeing people posting random CM Punk pics. Like, I love CM Punk, you know what I'm saying? But it's just you know, like, this didn't need to be given attention like that, even though he didn't directly say, "Oh, fuck CM Punk." That would have been funnier.
That would have been much more entertaining. Yeah, I agree.
That would have been a lot funnier.
That would have been hilarious. But and again, I love CM Punk with fucking Adam Copeland just went out there and just went, you know what? Fuck that old miserable prick. You know,
because I think there's more. Like, I would rather do neither, but I do think there is a lot more like. Yeah, there's like something to that, at least, rather than just like, you know, we like all wrestling, let us play too. It's like, yeah, you're right, Money. All right, here we go. Will Ospreay out of game.
Him disowning the Fed would have been an all-time clip to come out of AEW. Like, just imagine Adam Copeland going out there and being like, well, fuck them guys. We're the best company. That would have been
that is also like... It's like Cope being the guy was complicated too, right? Because it's like it's the ultimate like WWE.
He was almost a Fed lifer. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Will Ospreay was here.
He was
for the Battle of Wills against Powerhouse Hobbs. And to be fair, this match did kick some ass. Charlie, you seem excited.
Before we go on, because I just remembered. Shout out to Tiger Style and getting that AEW job though, because I'm so fucking happy for Julian, man. Like that's been one of our boys, like friend of the brand for a very long time now. So shout out to Tiger Style. Great buy.
Very well.
Great buy. Wow, great get.
Yeah, good hiring. You know, this business is really on the up. No, shout out Tiger Style, Julian. He's great, man. We love Julian.
Very talented.
He's been some of his shorts are on our YouTube page right now. You know what I mean? Like he's sent us little bits and bobs. He's helped us with things and stuff in the past, like this. But ultimately, he's just like one of the few, just really cool, just you know, just chill people in the wrestling space. So really happy to see him. get a really cool opportunity, and looking forward to see what more AEW Tiger style relationship provides.
Absolutely. I agree completely. Hobbs and Ospreay. Killer match. Tiger Style was in the chat.
It sure is.
Tiger Style. Killer match. Ospreay will bump big for anyone, but I think he was really unlocked in that regard here, right? Like all of Hobbs' power offense was like upper level here. He give Hobbs a lot, as I think he should. And I think again, Powerhouse Hobbs, it's easy to kind of take for granted because he's been in the same slot for a long time, but there is still a lot there. It feels like we've barely scratched the surface in that regard. Really strong match to kick off Dynamite. Charlie, what did you think of it?
I really like this match. Like, I thought that this was a really good reminder for people why Hobbs was someone that won the TNT title once upon a time, like literally only a year ago, which is crazy to think about. But he's had such an up and down journey in AEW, it feels like. But this match with Ospreay was something else. It was like one of his best matches to date, I think. Like you said, Ospreay gave him a lot. Some of the bumps Ospreay was taking, like the fucking backbreaker on the stairs and shit, like I don't know what that man is made of to be able to take bumps like that on a weekly basis, but it's great viewing material. So keep doing it, I guess, if you can. But no, I thought this was great.
To be fair, the schedule is pretty generous now, at least, right? Like, at least he's not doing the world tour thing where he's like pretending to be an NWA champ. Like, he should at least can take some time here. And also, unless I'm mistaken, he won with a single hidden blade, right? Which should be like a national holiday in Great Britain. I was happy to see that. Like, I was genuinely sitting here thinking, did I miss one? Because I think he should do that more often. And guess what? He did that without hurting Hobbs. Oh, Hobbs looked like a killer in this match. So, strong match, Montgomery. What did you reckon?
Yeah, strong opener, as we were saying earlier, so this is what you should just be leading with if your whole thing is where the best wrestle, because this you've got arguably the best wrestler in-ring worker in the world going in there with someone that you can really like do some shit with in Hobbs, a powerhouse that can move and do all the stuff that you'd hope a powerhouse can do. I like matches like this from Hobbs because it really, it gives you some validity to when people say, like, a lot of people are clamoring for him to like be given more, and like he's never really been given like a proper push. Like his pushes have always been kind of weird. Like even his TNT title division push was like, it was like
very up and down.
It's never quite the push you want it to be. And I know you can't, like, I'm not saying you have to throw the world title on him, and I'm not saying you have to go all the way through with him like that sort of thing, but I don't know, it'd be nice if he could kind of get the push, because it's been a while, bro. People have been wanting him to get like this I don't know, this hypothetical push I've got in my head. I'm not sure what your guys' vision of it is, but this hypothetical push for like how long now? 18 months.
To your point,
ages, bro.
He wrestled Punk at After Ash in 2021. And if you remember, the conversation coming out of that was, okay, push coming up. And it's like, it never really has been a real thing, to your point. Also would like to know, Ospreay is just terrific at these big man, little man matches. And this has been something he's been good at for years now. I know our friend Alex always talks about the Lance Archer match that happened in Dallas, I believe it was, in the G1 a few years back.
2019.
Yeah.
I think he's very good at that balance of like he's, as you guys have already mentioned, he sells a lot. And he can sell pretty well when he's on, when it's kind of like one of the focuses of the match, kind of like he was here for Hobbs. He was bumping a lot. He's not. We all know he's not scared to take a crazy bump, like the bump he took on the steps, other stuff that he takes pretty much weekly, stuff that we've seen him take in the past. But he also does it in a way that he makes his offense look explosive and effective, in the sense that, like, if you take Bryan Danielson by comparison in the next match, I know I'm kind of skipping ahead here, he's sold a lot more, and Lance Archer came across like slightly more kind of like threatening because of the way. So, and Bryan kind of got through that by the skin of his teeth, whereas Ospreay beat Hobbs kind of more decisively because his offense throughout that match was kind of
more explosive.
It was just more explosive and more effective because that's just the way he wrestles. And it's like, I'm not saying one's better than the other. I actually prefer the Bryan way of doing things, but they're both genuinely two of the best wrestlers going today. So it's like pick your poison again.
It's very the way Ospreay does it is very TNA AJ Styles. You know, like when he worked like an abyss, and he would,
Yeah, I
he
can see that.
he
I
had
can
the
see that, yeah.
offense to kind of to put those pieces in place. But post match, there was a little tension there with Hobbs. Someone sent in a super chat earlier. Do we think that's the finish this Danielson match? This Don Callis story is like happening on the side almost. It's like he's wrestled all of Don's guys, obviously again by Don's choice, but it has to be going somewhere, Chuck, right? It feels like there's got to be some kind of twist coming up here.
I do agree. I do think that them running the Don Callis story alongside the Brian story is actually quite good for them, both the stories,
Agree.
because of neither of them had enough meat for a full pay-per-view cycle. So you're doing both at the same time, you're getting more bang for your buck. I do think that Ospreay could end up losing to Brian, which is going to be interesting because we could end up getting a tag match out of this where Brian and Ospreay team up against the Don Callis family, which I won't say no to because I think that could be pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I do think that Don Callis is going to be involved in this match, and honestly, thank God for that, because Ospreay doesn't need to be associated with them, but we're getting good like dynamics and matches like of them doing it this way rather than him just straight up pulling away. So
yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Monè? Are we overthinking this? Is this just another case of Danielson loses on pape?
No, I think there's obviously they've kind of signaled towards it. I'm not sure if it happens at the pay-per-view, but it does seem like that's the direction they're going into, because obviously just naturally Ospreay doesn't fit in the Don Callis family now, but he's there, so it's kind of like you see it through and you can kind of naturally build a tension like they have been doing. And you know, the tough thing is that he's like you beat everyone in the so it's like, what's the match you build into? Like, are you building to a big trios and
it'll be Takeshita again?
But it's like, how do you like? It'd be weird because it's like, yeah, the Takeshita match. Obviously, you could run that back, but again, he did beat him. He beat him decisively. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. So you can't even really do the big trios match either. It's not much of an option. It's because Cole Fletcher would be on the other side, and ideally you would have Ospreay Vazzy open when Davis is back in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would actually be a pretty cool way to bring back Davis, because it would be like significant. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but you know, it does feel like AEW are kind of investing their stocks in Kyle as a singles these days. So I don't know. I'm a fan of Davis.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Long way of getting there. Mark Davis good.
We can agree. There's also the thing of, if Ospreay wins at Dynasty, how do you keep him and Swerve apart until All In? Because that kind of feels like where they're going to. But if Ospreay's like top of the leaderboard, so to say, like, how do you keep him apart that long? He needs to take a loss somewhere, and this is like the best way to do it.
I do think Dragon's winning, yeah. And I think before Wembley, he'll get his win back against Brian on TV, maybe in a main or something. Like, because I don't know pay-per-view wise what are they doing something in July or not?
Probably.
Not right now, but it's AEW, so.
Right.
They're on one these days, Joe, you know.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I mean,
neither do I.
My wallet isn't thrilled, but
they usually have Fight for the Fallen, but they might swap that out. I don't know.
Yeah, I like, you know, AEW on pay-per-view has got such a good track record. I do actually enjoy the increased schedule, but we'll see how it goes. Speaking of Bryan Danielson, we were talking about him once. I promise, folks. He kind of went past Will on the ramp, and it bled straight over into the Lance Archer match, which I get why they did that, because it was a cool visual and it connects the guys and keeps them attached. The only thing I would say is a small thing. I do think it affected this match in the sense that you're watching a very similar archetype, right? Like match-wise. You're right, Monty, there are differences, but in a broad strokes, I think there still was...
Yeah, you have to like, be really...
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's a lot of overlap that I do think hurt this a tad. Still a really good time, though. I thought Archer had a good showing. He needed to, right? Because Brian gave him so much of this match, as you mentioned, Monty. But this was a good match. Dragon over Lance Archer in a nice TV match. Monty, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked kind of that definitely was at play. What you just said, them like the matches being directly after each other, kind of being like almost jarring because of them being similar archetypes. But I did kind of like the moment of, you know, Will Ospreay and Brian walking past each other, having a little stare down. Ospreay saying "top that," Brian kind of smirking to himself. It then like I liked how actually on commentary how they were like Brian was scheduled to come out after the break, but just
that was nice.
yeah, just to like prove that Brian is coming out just to kind of take
To be a
piss,
dick.
just to be Brian, So I like that part of it. Then obviously Archer comes out just to jumpstart. They have a good match, man. They have a good match. As I said, Brian selling a lot. He's one of my favourite fucking sellers, So it's like I could just watch him do that, especially when the gaps are being filled by someone who's got good offense like Archer. He's so dynamic. He's powerful. He's fast. He can still fucking do the running, jumping knee on to the second row.
Yeah.
He's impressive, man. It's like I'll probably say this every single time that he comes up, but it's like I will never get over when I interviewed him when he was like, "Yeah, I'm feeling good, not really any injuries, not hurting or anything." Obviously he could have been working a bit, but
he looks fine. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, gee, the way he looks out there, and a lot of these older wrestlers used to say, you're never 100%, and so it's like
he was on fine. Yeah.
He was like, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm 100%. I'm feeling good. He was like, I think he said something like, I had some knee trouble 4 or 5 years ago. And he's like, that's completely gone now. What a beast.
Living the good life, brother. Doing 20 squashes over a year, right? That's good. That bump count is low. Good stuff. Sharp, what did you think of the match?
I really enjoyed it. Like, I think that it did kind of hurt the dynamic of this match, like going back to back, but I also get why they did it, like, so they could have the little moment of tension, and so it's just like, oh yeah, them two are wrestling each other, like, compare how they're wrestling right now. And I actually think that choosing Lance Archer was quite inspired because of Ospreay has like a bit of history with him as well, so it's cool to compare like the dynamics of his past matches with this match as well. But yeah, pretty much just enjoyed it. I would like to see Lance Archer on TV more. He's pretty cool. Tony should book him more.
Did you hear when Taz asked Tony Schiavone if he knows what a murder hawk is? Yes. And Tony declared, he is a hawk that murders people.
Yes.
Actual. Nailed it. Good stuff.
Did you hear on commentary where Brian had the LaBelle lock in, and it's like Taz and Excalibur are giving completely different breakdowns. Look, Taz is like, it's worse because he's taller and it's harder to live. And Excalibur's like, oh no, because he's so tall, he can reach his leg right. What is happening?
And then when he got to the ropes, Schiavone was like, good call, coach. And Taz goes, which one? The lads, they do have fun. Chuck, do we have any super chats to go to?
We do. We have a handful of super chats. Jumanji Hunter, $5 super chat. Why did that Diddy line make TV? Sexual assault shouldn't be joked about, and it unfortunately had half my timeline popping for it. Yeah, I didn't like that line either.
Yeah, I agree completely. That was a miss.
Yeah, I
think we all are aware enough, especially from that performer, that like, the intention's just trash talk. It's one of those ones where you think about one beat beyond that, it's like not the sort of thing we need this trash talk on a wrestling show, really, is it? So yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, it's just Joe talking shit. Unfortunately, well, yeah, it's a silly line, sort of thing, Because it's a silly line rather than kind of like, I don't think he was maliciously like making fun of sexual assault. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's trying to do shit. He did a
silly
reference.
Line in it, So.
Yeah, especially at the base. Just I agree completely.
Indeed. Shytown Spurs $5 super chat. Who was this for? Wasn't for AEW fans. Nothing Punk said changed our minds on. Of anything, just felt silly.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Shytown Spurs and Montel WP. One and the same, brother, right there. Look at that.
Listen, I won you over, mate. Don't try and scurry off now.
You did. I don't disagree with anything you said about it, really. It popped me how animated you got. It was all out of nowhere, and then you closed with just silly.
Just silly.
just what are we doing?
Jampion, another $2 super chat. Thank you. WP, where the manor lives, smack some. Hashtag TSP all elite. There we go. Tiger Star Pro. I had to think about that. Sure is.
Good stuff.
That was a lot of letters all in a row. That was like, whoa. $1.99 super chat. TK says he's still going for FAs.
Free agents.
Drew, Becky, Sheamus. Sheamus maybe. Becky and Drew, no.
How much does it roll how many WrestlePurists shows Sheamus has been booked to join All Elite Wrestling at this point?
People want to know, bro, because it is weird though, isn't it? Because it's like, where is he?
What is
Like,
No, I agree. It's weird. It's just none of it. Like, he could easily show up on the Raw after Mania in a new role, and he would be like, not surprise me. Or we know nothing, you know?
yeah, of course. 100%.
Drew and Becky, look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It'd pop me huge. I don't think there's any chance either of those two wrestlers are
Yeah,
leaving.
as I said, Drew, if you're like Drew's manager or people in his ear or whatever, it's like, bro, AEW would have to offer him so much money in the position he's in WWE as of right now, the momentum he has in WWE right now.
Yeah.
For him to be leaving there in any time in the next 12 months, Tony Khan would have to write an insane check, bro. Like,
that part of it wouldn't surprise me either, to be fair. But
but like I'm talking more than like what was Okada reportedly made, like $4 million a year, $5 million.
Well, because
like,
he's
more
got,
than that,
like,
because
he's got so much big business ahead of him if he stays healthy in WWE, right? The Punk thing is like right in front of them now. So
I mean,
yeah.
Drew would have to be offered something like comedically big. And same with Becky, to be honest, because Becky is there like
Becky's not leaving, right?
She's their biggest female star. Do you know what I mean? Like it's Becky Lynch, bro. It's
absolutely.
I'd put the Machine Guns over any of them as free agents right now, purely because we don't know what Sheamus's contract status actually is. So we know the Machine Guns are free agents.
Almost certainly coming in, if we're being real, right? Like that just feels like a lock.
I don't know, man.
Really?
I don't know. It's I don't know what people. The thing is so we don't know. You know what's funny? Like we all support a football team. Like, Joe supports Spurs, Charlie supports Arsenal. Like, I know our American fans won't get a little bit lost because we're going to talk about transfers and stuff. It's like I know roughly what Arsenal are going to spend this summer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a rough amount. You know what I mean? Like you might be a couple mil off or whatever, but like roughly, you know the sort of players that your team and that can go for. It's like I don't know what the WWE's budget's going to be for the Motor City Machine Guns in 2024, especially with the way that like the wage structure and stuff like that is changing pretty much every 12 months. Every time some top star signs a new deal, it's like I don't know what Tony Khan was talking about, not making sure the war chest is ready and stuff like that. Like earlier on today, so it's like I don't know what the budget would be for a talent like that would be.
Gut feeling, Montel. Who do you think would pay more money for the Motor City Machine Guns based on what you know about the sport of professional wrestling?
Well, Tony's the easy answer, right? You know,
it's just one of those pair of things that makes sense for like again. You know what? You might be right. I don't know. It's just.
But there has been those weird free agents in recent, over the past couple of years, where it's just like you just ain't gone from it. It's just like, oh, okay, right.
It's like, the Machine Guns are. You know,
but I think where both companies are currently at, AEW is going to be willing to play more, like where they're at with their especially with where their tag division's at right now. They need something like that. Whereas in WWE, they've got quite an established tag division. If the Machine Guns go to WWE, they're going to be agents in 6 months and like wrestling once a month. Like
it's also that like the audiences are different and an AEW audience would receive them differently, huh?
They might want to do something.
Yeah, they might.
Like, okay, let's do 1 year going ham, whatever. Win the NXT tag title.
I think contract length is.
Yeah.
So if they're like, okay, we know we can be coaches at NXT for the next 6 years at least. If we do, you know what I mean? If we get some good momentum, respected in the company, blah, 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 it could last for 20 years, do you know what I mean? And that could be the way they're looking at it. So,
maybe we'll see.
We'll see. It will be interesting to see where they land. DM Maz $5 super chat. First his match with MJF and now this match with Billy Gunn. If it weren't for the Continental Classic, TK would have me thinking my goat was washed. If we're being real about Jay White right now, was the Continental Classic all that good for him?
Not really, but
he gave him at least something to do, like in the sense he could stretch his legs a bit. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like they gave him the world.
Good call.
Why you gotta bring that lore up? You know,
it's just PTSD.
It just reminds me every time.
But yeah,
I
he
agree.
could stretch his legs a little. You know,
He was pretty good in the Continental Classic. He wasn't great in it. But in fairness, the only criticism I have of Jay when it comes to the Billy Gunn match is like he needs to just say no to some of these things, you know? Like I have no issue. The performance part of it is like he didn't do anything. And I would assume that wasn't him making that decision on the fly, you know? So
obviously not. No.
My only criticism really is that he probably just said no. I will not do that.
Jay White's a phenomenal talent, man. He's a very, very good talent, bro. He's a really good heel worker, and he's a really good promo. Has his time AEW thus far reflected that? From an in-ring perspective, we've probably seen about 70% of his best. You know, if you pick up one of his best matches, you know what I mean. Like we've seen him being good. We haven't seen him drop one of his like great.
Not in singles. He was great in a couple tags, weren't he?
Yes,
great.
Yeah.
Like,
he was.
Not even just the FTR tags, but like there's one of those Punk multi-mans that he is incredible in. I think it might be the second Collision or something, but very, very talented.
I think it would have been the Forbidden Door one because I think I was there for that.
Yes.
He's a very, very good wrestler. So even like 78%, you're gonna get some really good wrestler. Matches, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then as a character and promo wise, I think we've seen dramatically less than that. Because his promo style, I don't think we've seen him in the setting that best suits him the most. Like, all my favourite memorable Jay White promos from New Japan are like post match or in the ring when he's out of breath and he just goes and he's like he's head topping most of his best promos that I've seen are him just head topping shit in the moment of like a significant thing, like he's just beat Tanahashi or he's just beat Okada or he's just done this X, Y, or Z, you know. Or he's just lost to Ibushi, or do you know what I mean? Like it's all these sort of promos. He hasn't really had the opportunity to do that. People are like, "Oh well, he had the face-to-face promo with MJF. He had opportunity to talk." But it's like that sort of promo live segment, having trading bazingas back and forth, like that isn't quite where I would put him. You know?
Yeah.
Then obviously from like just a straight up booking perspective, like bro, he's currently obviously even ignoring the hilarities of last night. It's he's in the 6-man of it. Like what are we doing? You know, like he got his kind of like I guess you could call it like a little bit of a chance with like the world title reign, the world title feud. And it was just like we saw how that went, and it didn't turn out to be much of an opportunity for Jay. If anything, you could argue it hurt him. A lot of people did argue that, and
I think so.
AEW, it's not like AEW have been. I very much doubt Tony's took into the side like this stuff. We fucked up with that. We're gonna make it up for you. You know what I mean? Here's a TNT title reign or some shit. You know what I mean? Like we really fucked up there, brother. Now, how about 60-year-old Billy Gunn beating the shit out of you? Talk to me, Jay. You know, it's
Stop.
We still haven't even got to that segment on the show, which makes it even funny how much we've talked about it. But is that our final super chat, Chuck?
That was our final super chat for now. Thank you guys. You've been great tonight.
Indeed, very generous. Please do like the video, folks. Subscribe and keep those.
Please.
Yeah, keep those super chats coming. All right, up next, Chris Jericho. He was out here and he had like a live promo on the ramp with Renee. And there was a thing that Hook said when he said, "I know Chris Jericho. I know who you are," I think was the quote. Montel was already gesticulating here. But he brought out Hook and he asked him what he meant by that. And Hook said that he does believe in Jericho and they're going to have a tag match on Collision. Is that based? Did I cover it there? Because like I find I don't really know what's happening anymore. Because it's not like, okay, I want to be very brief on this because last week I asked Ao a question about their segment and he legitimately just asked me who gives a fuck, and I actually think he was onto something with that. But how weird is their chemistry and their dynamic? Like, it feels like they're going on the fly every single time.
Hostage video or something.
It's so weird. It's such a weird, and it's like Jericho's almost leaning into how weird it is now, and like he's trying to play, but it's just bad. It's unsettling TV, and this was only short again. It's just not good though, is it, Chuck? It's not.
So jarring. Like, why is Hook talking in full sentences? Shut up and wrestle. Like, I don't want to hear him talk. I don't want to hear Jericho talk either. I don't really want to see him wrestle, to be honest. Like, I don't know what the solution here is anymore. Get him off my TV. I'm so tired of it.
We've said it for months now, but he used to be so good at going away when you're starting to get tired of him. It's a skill, man. Like, take yourself off for a little bit.
Why did he say bet?
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. I think that was intended to be funny. I think, where it was like, I'm picking up what Hook says, but it may have not been. I don't know. Slightly embarrassing. Once are you into this, mate?
That's my brain.
Uncomfortable, awkward, embarrassing. What are we doing, bro? Like,
we're doing the Jericho Hook. It's Lion Hook.
It's bad. How is this still getting any sort of time? How is this getting like advertised live segment time?
The graphic was so funny, dude.
Why are AEW and obviously Jericho, whatever involvement he has on his own creative, we assume he's very heavily involved in that part of things. Why is this still like making it to the show like this, bro? It's so bizarre because the crowd. It's not like the crowds are popping. The crowds are booing him, bro. He's getting booed at the end of fucking every sentence he's saying. Anytime he says something positive about himself, about being a veteran, or this is what you do at the top level, or anything like that, he's getting booed. People don't want to see him with Hook. Anytime he mentions the thought of him and Hook together, he gets booed. And you can, like Joe said, maybe his intention was to kind of be the out of touch older guy, but and he's going to turn heel eventually, like we all expect. Oh, I can't wait.
But even that's like, who cares, right?
Yeah, it's just like, who gives a shit? No one wants to see it. The relationship with Hook from the start has just been horrible television. And I feel sorry for Hook because he's kind of like handicapped in this, because it's just like, when you think, as Charlie said, why is he talking in full sentences? Like, why are these two characters should not be like interacting like this, like in a full-on one-on-one storyline like this? Like, what the fuck? Terrible chemistry on screen. Terrible, just like story writing, whatever the fuck they're trying to do here. Hook's hat looked ridiculous. He was going for like when you wear the beanie and you have it low, and I know that's a thing, but it was like an inch too low, and he was literally like, it was so that was a weird visual. Jericho quoted his own song at one point. Said something like, "Everyone I've ever loved, I pushed them all away." Like,
all the way.
That was pretty beast, actually.
Disgusting. He doesn't even come out to that anymore. He comes out to the fucking Lion Hook.
That's why it ruled. He referenced it like it was like an old song we hadn't heard in years. Like the old songs like came out to like 3 weeks ago, dude.
And he says to Hook, "Believe in me as much as I believe in you," which is I don't know, it's weird grooming talk, Like, he's just, it was just weird, awkward, just embarrassing, pathetic
Bad
TV. Hook was like, "I've got us a match." Nobody was happy about it. It's just, and Charlie already said, "Bet." Poor Renee being in the middle of this. Fucking just Renee stand.
I don't know. Their collision match is again. I believe it's on Collision. Yes, it is. Yeah. Collision match is against Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, who had a quick promo.
This segment was weird because what the fuck was the cameraman doing?
I didn't notice. Well,
he just kept zooming in and out on their faces. It was really off-putting.
It was a moment.
Really?
There was actually.
Yeah.
I was quite disappointed about how you introduced this joke. There's some layers to this segment, mate.
You talking about the boxing references?
Oh, that's one of them.
Okay, yeah, because I do remember that. I'm sorry, folks. There's a lot, it's been a lot of wrestling, but I remember him listing boxers and then being like, "And now, Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty."
So he was like, Massachusetts. It's got a rich, great history of fighters.
True.
Rocky Marciano, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Shane Taylor.
I mean, look,
Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, we're about to add our names to that list by beating Chris Jericho and Hook.
If you can reference Marvin Hagler, you should do it, even if it is to promote a match with Chris Jericho and Hook. I have no problem with this. I co-sign it. Good for Shane. Yeah, that'll be a match that happens this Saturday on the Collision. All right, folks. There's that. All right, let's get into the.
Shout out Marvin
We've already
Hagler.
talked about shout out. Yes, indeed.
Had a good match with Tommy Hearns.
We've talked hell of a sprint. We've talked about it a lot. Let's get to it here. Billy Gunn, Jay White. They went 11 minutes. Billy was on offense for 10:55 of that 11 minutes. And I think most astonishingly, it wasn't even a case of Billy's going to kick the shit out of Jay and Jay's then going to win. Billy won by disqualification at the end. I want to note too, before we throw this around, because this is part of it was already terrible. The post-match angle for this was like they came down and the babyfaces kicked the shit out of them again. Like
to no pops.
This was actually like
setting up the table, no one cared.
Genuinely, Monty, I know you had your fun with the Copeland thing earlier, but like I cannot stress enough the levels between these two things in terms of them being bad. You know what I'm saying? Like Copeland was like, it's a weird choice. This I genuinely think is one of the worst things they've ever done on Dynamite. I wasn't surprised that Billy took most of the match because he always does that. This is actually a theme and a trend with him. This was excessive, and it went 11 fucking minutes. Why? If you wanted to do the exact thing, I don't know why you wanted to do it, but if you wanted to do the exact thing, why couldn't they do it in 4 minutes? Why did it have to be an 11-minute match? There's so many errors made along the way here, Chuck. I couldn't believe how bad this was. Billy Gunn, Jay White, go for it.
They did a walk and brawl segment, which was like kind of cool, and then it all went downhill from there. And I hated every second that this kept going, because why the fuck is Jay White being subjected to this? Like people joke about it, it's just like, did he piss TK off? But like, genuinely, what is the reason for him to be facing 60-year-old Billy Gunn in like primetime TV on your main show? Like, you could have had him face any of the members of the Acclaimed, and it would have been better than this. I would have taken a Max Caster match. I don't like the guy. It is what it is. But bro, this fucking sucked, and I really hated it. The post match was really fucking dumb and just made the heels look stupid. It made the baby faces look stupid because no one gave a fuck. And now I don't care what they do with the 6-man or the trios belts. Put them in the bin for all I care. Like, why should I care anymore? You've killed whatever this feud was. Not that there was much to it anyways.
Yeah. There's the story at play basically here was that Billy could beat Jay pretty much whenever he wanted, right?
Yeah.
Like he hit his finish on him and left the ring to get a chair. And at one point, at the end, I should say, the Guns run down had to legitimately shield Jay White because he was getting his ass kicked so much. And look, folks, I've said about Christian Cage before. There's something to be said. Absolutely, there's room for heels to be cowards and to be chicken shits within reason, you know? I couldn't believe this one. I mean, you've spoken about it a little bit. If you have anything else you want to add, this was really awful. Like, this was very, very bad. Why don't you go for it?
Yeah, one of the worst segments I've ever done in terms of a complete piece of work, as in the match segment following it, the whole thing. It was genuinely one of the worst things that AEW have put on television, especially in contrast to the quality that they're capable of putting on in 2024. Because in 2019, when they were doing you can throw random names at me, Joey Janela in a filler match against someone blatantly below him in 2019, just kind of fucking around for 6 minutes. You can throw things like that at me. But this is even worse because it stands out as even worse because it's, again, in contrast to what they're capable of being able to put on, especially when the two match preceding this were Ospreay and Danielson, So it's just embarrassing again, bro. Yeah, it's just super embarrassing. Billy Gunn is 60 years old. You don't need to be doing this. Regardless of how the match goes, if Billy Gunn is going to be dominating 98% of this match or not, and that's kind of this weird thing that you're going for. It's why, whatever you're going for, like Joe said, why does it need to go 11 minutes, bro? Anything you need to do with Billy Gunn, you can fit in 5. Tony, I promise you, bro. Don't worry about it.
Especially when you're doing a DQ finish, bro. That's we cannot.
Even if you're not.
I agree, but what I'm saying is especially if you're doing a no finish, it's even less reason to have this go past 5. It's like if you do a 5-minute match, Billy kicks ass for 4 minutes, then walks into the Blade Runner. It's fine. It's not good, but it's whatever, innit? We're gonna move on.
And I think the crowd wanted to give it a chance as well, you know, because
They
like
did.
Jay White's entrance hits and he shows up in lights. Big pop for Jay White because people just think he's good. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like the popping for him like the way that's like, oh, let's turn him babyface. They just
They like him.
you just think
Yeah,
he's good.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then I even like the thing they've done with Billy Gunn, like appearing in the spotlight and attacking the crowd.
cool.
Popped huge for that.
It was cool. Yeah.
And then he just beating him up. And he's beating him up. Then he takes him into the crowd. He's still beating him up. He's still going. You know, what's that? Jay's like Jay as well. God bless him, man. Like as Joe said, he needs to learn how to say no or something because he's playing into this, bro. He's not out there like a
Yeah, you gotta like.
You know what I mean?
This
Like,
is where there's a
he's not
line
out.
between.
That's what I mean. Like Jay White wasn't out there last night like someone who's begrudgingly doing this match. Like he's fully playing into. He's hiding behind security guards. He's begging and pleading with him. He's proper playing it up, man. You know, and Billy Gunn's just beating the shit.
There is a fine line between, you know, like obviously it gets like vilified a lot when guys are political, and I get it. I understand, but like. There is something to be said for if you're a main event guy and they ask you to do this against Billy Gunn. I'm sorry, I do think you should put your foot down. Like this is fucking insane. It's actually bad, dude.
It's insane. So, Joe, you kind of vaguely touched on it. So, Joe, Billy Gunn's got somewhat of a history of it, and it's fucking bullshit, man. But like, someone like that can even get that shit off, bro. Like, what do you mean that Billy Gunn kicked out of the coffin drop before the referee even counted to
do you
one?
Remember the Swerve match?
What do you mean that Swerve? Like, as much as I laughed about it at the time because I almost predicted some bullshit like that was going to happen in that Swerve match. But like, how you not letting Swerve, who was like on the upswing at that time, and he still is now, to be fair. Luckily, it didn't hurt him because Billy Gunn's that fucking insignificant. How could it? But like, how you not letting Swerve just beat you clean in the middle? Like, why does he have to grab the ropes and shit like that? Yeah. And this last night, like, are you fucking for real, bro? Like, and the thing is, it's like those things in a vacuum. If they're just isolated incidents, we'll forget about them in a year. But it's like, or even quicker than that, in a couple of weeks, bro. But like, when he kicks out of the coffin drop before the referee even counts to one. Like, we remember that when he does that weird finish with Swerve. Yep. Then when he does shit like last night, we remember both of those incidences. And now there's multiple incidences where we're like, yo, is Billy Gunn just fucking prick to younger talent? Like, is that what it is?
The whole Mania 6-man match was built around the fact that he retired. Like, it's fucking...
like, where does he see himself in that locker room? Like, does he see himself as like above all these like younger guys and shit? Like, is he one of those? Because I like Billy Gunn, like I actually do. Like, I know I've just kind of said you don't need I don't need to be seeing him in singles matches and shit. Like, let's be honest, even if I fucking like him, bro, he's 60 years old and AEW's got one of the best rosters of all time. I don't need to see him, bro. Do you know what I mean? But I do like him. It's like shit like it makes it tough because it's just like what. Yeah. Who does he think he is, or is AEW's creative incompetent enough that they're getting him to do this shit because they think, oh, Daddy Ash should be this big, strong, protected character because he sells merch or whatever the fuck he does. Do you know what I mean? So
which none of that is reliant on him being protected. That's the other thing, right? Like, I don't know. I also want to note that, like, even if you're watching this and you think this will actually have no effect on Jay White, it might not. Beyond all that, this was 15 minutes of TV show that fucking sucked. Like, beyond any big picture stuff, beyond any Jay White stuff, like, this was, like, really bad wrestling TV. And the people's reaction to the post-match angle will tell you all you need to know about that, because whatever you think of the Acclaimed, like, they generally like to see them, and by that point in the show, in this segment, it was just, like, enough.
Just died. Yeah, they just died.
This was awful. Do this 6-man as soon as possible and move on. There is nothing more to be gained.
I'd just run it on Super Card of Honor at this point. Just get it out the fucking way.
Get it out the way, bro. Just get it out the way. The thing is with Jay as well, it's like I said, like we haven't been able to see him be put in, like he's gotten opportunities, but there haven't been opportunities where he can really spread his wings and he can like really just kind of like get his teeth into something and show 100% of his capabilities, whether that's in ring, on a promo, backstage, or just as a general character on the television show. And it's now created like this narrative where people are like, Was Jay White? Is Jay White even that good? Is Jay White even?
Yeah.
Is Jay White even a natural like main event?
That's never a
worthy
good
talent?
sign.
Like, and it's
ever.
like,
Yeah.
bro, like it's ridiculous, especially when it's coming out of a match. Like I'm seeing Jay White criticism coming out of that match from last night. Like, are you fucking for real, bro? I made a list, Joe.
Wait,
I made a
what?
list. I made a list, Joe. I made a list.
Okay,
Got a
why?
list here.
Good.
It's a list of the offense that Jay White actually got in this match. It's not
Go
very
on, then.
long. It's not
I'm
very
sure it
long, I
ain't,
promise
yeah.
you people. All right, so threw a good fucking chop at the start. Good chop.
Good.
Billy Gunn no sold it. Carried on beating the shit out of him. Then as we were brawling through the Charlie said the term brawl as well. I think last night on Twitter and said it earlier. They weren't brawling through the crowd. Billy Gunn was just kind of beating
Just
him off.
take a shove.
And Jay White threw some like as he was selling, he threw some like faint
Back up.
chop.
Yeah.
Those were also no sold, by the way. And then when they finally got out of the crowd, there was a moment where Jay White pushed him into the guardrail, but that didn't lead to anything because Jay White tried to crawl away. Then Billy Gunn eventually recovered and just carried on beating the shit out of him. But eventually, his actual comeback, calling it a comeback, he was the heel. Do you know what I mean? His heel comeback, whatever the fuck we're calling it, was a few shoulder barges and punches in the corner. He kicked him in the leg. He raked his eyes and pushed him into the post. And then he was beat. He was basically beat. We didn't even touch on this, bro. He was basically beaten by Billy Gunn because he hit him. He hit him with a signature move, and he hit him with two famouses. And like the impression was like, Jay's done. Billy Gunn can just pin him. You know, like that. That was what they were going for, bro.
Yeah.
Jay was
He
like,
got
you
the
know
chair,
what? Fuck this. I'll go get a chair. And that's when the guns come down and they do the low blow, and then they do that fucking shitty angle that no one wanted to see. You know what I mean? So it was just like from start to finish. Well, not from the start, because the actual start with Jay's entrance was actually pretty. So about 20 seconds from the start to finish, this was hard. I think the fact that it started pretty promising makes it even worse. because the way it started positive shows you what this should have been, in the sense of like, Billy Gunn beats the shit out of Jay for like a minute or two. You know what I mean? The babyface gets his hands on the heel because he's been in his house and he took the piss, blah, 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 blah. And then Jay White does some sort of conniving trick. You know, does a nice cut off, hurts his leg. Do you know what I mean? And then you have a little bit, then Jay White's getting heat on him. And everyone hates that because it's daddy ass and we all just pop for daddy ass in the spotlight. And then you do a little bit of back and forth, and you can do do what finish you're gonna do, and you can do all that in 4 to 6 minutes.
Easily can, yeah.
And like I said, so this kind of give you a little bit of what this actually should have been, then just went in one
direction,
horrible
never stopped,
the whole time. It's horrible bit of business. Horrible.
I honestly can't go over in the middle of your review that you just declared I have list, and I couldn't. It's so excited. I made a list. He said, I was like, oh, this could be anything. This could be anything.
Because before I did my rewatch, I saw like a few Jay Whites, a bit of Jay White sland. I was like, how do you watch that match and come to the conclusion, oh, maybe Jay White ain't got it? Like, I don't get it. Like, if you're basing it off his entire run, then I would say I can understand that. I don't agree. I don't really think he's been given the ample opportunities to show exactly what he's capable of. He's shown glimpses and bits and bobs, but not the whole picture. If you watch that match and you're like, oh, Jay White didn't look good there. What the fuck? Like, I have these conversations with you in private sometimes. It's like, some people genuinely, like, I know wrestling's subjective, yeah. It's the way it leads somewhere. Wrestling's subjective, yeah, especially when we're reviewing it and talking about how much we enjoyed a match. But it's like, when I see shit like that, I'm not. Some people genuinely don't know what the fuck they're like watching. Like, you don't know what you're actually watching. Like,
not everyone's made the list, bro. You got to realize it.
I've got this. Yeah. I know what I watched because I listed it. Like,
you certainly did. All right. That was something else. There you go, folks.
Jay White's the list, man. He's pretty
the
good.
list of Dynamite review. Yeah.
I'm a fan.
I like Jay White too.
I like Billy Gunn as well, just not on this review.
Okay, Chuck, let's go to some super chats here while everyone catches their breath.
We have got a backlog of them. And Champion, $2 super chat. I want him to climb Everest for charity. # go away, # mountain. I think this is about Chris Jericho.
Oh, it definitely is. It's it's like when he announced his tour and people were saying, "Oh man, come to Alaska."
Those tweets were so funny.
Yeah.
It was a good bit. Chi-Town Spurs, $10 super chat. Thank you. Usually, I think a lot of people think one or two bad segments overshadow an otherwise great AEW show. But this stretch from Jericho to the post-Gunn White was truly god-awful and warrants a discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, again, as you said,
man.
the stretch. That part's important. The fact they were one after the other. That is very much relevant in this.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's a shame. It can affect the, it's kind of lazy criticism, but I think anyone watching this will get what I mean. Like, it does affect the vibe of the show. When a segment ends, you aren't able to just reset entirely, right? Like, it absolutely affects the way you're watching the show after that.
I think I said to both of you live when the show was on, bro, that Adam Copeland promo baffled me that much that it just completely threw me off like the first 5 minutes of that Hobbs Ospreay match. I was just like, what just happened? Like, and I'm messaging Joe like, did we just watch the same thing? And then it's like that, it just distracts you, it takes you out of it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think you did just legit message me, what just happened? It was just so baffled. Nathan Dewey, $5 Canadian super chat, thank you. Jericho used to be so good at going away. Great line by Holbert. # what are we doing? We ask ourselves that often.
I know that sounds really dumb, but like it is true though.
Yeah.
Right? Like he would come back. Yeah, he would come back, he would get over, and then when his new shtick would start slowing down, he would go away for a bit and he'd come back and do it over again. Now he's just forever around. It's very unfortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Darren Walker, £5 super chat. So I get the feeling you guys not staying up at 6:30 a.m. on Sunday morning for Lion Hook on Collision this weekend. It's on Saturday, yeah, but probably not.
Oh wait, this might be the first time I don't collide. I think.
Yeah,
so much wrestling, and I'm going to be reviewing Mania, and like this one weekend, I may just
bro. I even watched that Collision that was the one that was the same day as Money in the Bank. Watched it in my hotel room watched it in my hotel room on my phone, bro.
Do you remember what happened that night, dude? With Fight, remember they fucked the whole thing up? Do you remember this? This is hilarious. That was the night where Fight forgot to like schedule Collision. It started like a half an hour late, and it was a catastrophe because Roddy Strong and Samoa Joe was on that card, and Monty was texting me violently as I was walking home. He was like, "Dude, Fight have ruined Collision."
Fight have ruined Collision. That's great.
Oh, I do remember that though. The half-hour delay. I was like, these amateurs. But Collision this weekend is looking like a myth mainly because of the time. To be honest, I do love Collision. Catch up next day, I guess, before Mania Night 2.
Mm-hmm.
I remember half the card. So
sometime in between Stand and Deliver and Mania Night 2, I'll try and squeeze it in.
What day is Stand and Deliver? Is that on
Saturday afternoon? Well, it's Saturday early evening for us, I think.
Assuming I haven't got it cancelled by then. I'm on the line to local authorities.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't know if I'll be watching that live. I think I'll be out. Anyways, Chance the producer, $1.99 super chat. We need to have a dialogue about Billy (HH) Gunn.
I think we did that. To be fair, I know that was sent before we had it.
Yeah,
we covered it. We even talked about like the weird past instances as well. It's like, it's tough, man. Like I said, it makes it hard to like root for him because it's cool seeing someone like from like for me as well, like from my childhood, like Billy Gunn and Road Dogg were fucking. I know, especially with Road Dogg, like it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? It's like, especially for like the younger fans who didn't know, but like,
you're right, they were over huge.
They were so fucking. They were genuinely like a big part of the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
and a big part of the Attitude Era being the Attitude Era as well. You know, So it's like it was cool to see him kind of have a run that had some juice to it, and you know the daddy ass thing and the scissor me daddy shit get over. Like even though it's not all kind of like this is great wrestling, brother. Still, you know what I mean? It's not
It's cool,
shit that
though.
I
Yeah, I get what you
love,
mean.
but it's still
Yeah.
cool to see. Then you know, then there is these kind of like shadows on it, like of him being weird with younger, like us seeing like it play out. Like I don't know how he is with the younger talent backstage and stuff like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But in terms of like how the matches have gone, you can tell that like I don't know if it's an ego thing. Again, I don't know if it's AEW being like, "Oh, we want to
Right.
protect the daddy
Yeah.
ass thing." You know, I doubt
Yeah.
it, but I don't know. So it'd be unfair to just be like, "This is definitely Billy Gunn, and he's a piece of shit, and he treats everyone like shit, and he just wants to bury everyone." Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
but
It's
if you
one of
do
those.
assume that, I'm not going to be like, "Oh, that's definitely wrong."
Yeah, but at the
Do you
same
know what I
time,
mean?
like, if it's still a thing that happens, it's kind of they must not be that bothered, right? It's so weird. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, I don't know. Strange one.
Crazy. The Derby one's crazy when you watch it back now as well.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah, I
crazy
saw
at
the
the
clip
time.
on my
Like,
timeline
at the
earlier. I was
time,
like,
yeah, I know, but like when you watch it back now in the context of like he's done it in different ways 2 other times, it's
Mhm.
like, bro, the referee can't even get one in.
I
You know
reviewed
what I
it
mean?
immediately afterwards and was like, thought it was insane, and people didn't really care at the time. But you're right. It's evidence is adding on that front.
Yeah. Will Chisholm, $5 super chat. Billy Gunn was like, if the fans love The Brock, who's 51 years old, I know they're going to love me beating up young talent. Christ.
Imagine if that was a thing, you know, the attitude era's in. It's in.
It's not a comeback.
We're back.
Christ. Oh dear. Scott 279 Canadian. That match felt like it was 20 minutes, went forever.
It
Yes.
was. How long were you at West Cage match when you needed
It clocked in at like 11, but they had the pre-match thing, I guess, right?
That's not. Oh, of
The
course.
whole segment.
It's okay. So 11 minutes 39 seconds. Yeah, you got to add at least like what 30, 40 seconds. Let's round that up to like 12:30 with the pre-match. It's like if you want to, if we're throwing in the post-match as well, because like it ended in the DQ and the main point was the angle and the heel scurrying away. We're clocking in at nearly 20 minutes of this garbage, bro, taking up the show.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What the
Indeed.
fuck?
Not good booking.
Horrible booking. Horrible.
Yes.
Actively some of the worst shit they've done.
Yeah. Uzora Hart, $5 super chat. I think Bullet Club Gold got more over than AEW expected. They're goofs, but fans like them as much, if not more, than the supposed faces in this feud. It's because the claims are on a come down as well. Jay White's just so dynamic; he will always get a crowd behind him, and the Guns are funny in the role they're in right now. So,
Good TV characters, man.
they're the good TV characters, yeah. Like, maybe AEW should learn how to pivot then, because what the fuck are they doing still? Like, they should have made the Bullet Club Gold the faces in this. It would have made much more sense at this point. I don't fucking know anymore.
Yeah, especially if you would have flipped, if the roles were reversed last night's match, it's still wrong. It makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah.
It's like Billy Gunn's like the condescending, better than you veteran sort of thing that's just being a prick, you know?
Oh god,
It's like,
yeah.
but it's still 11 minutes is fucking insane. You know, it's like there's no excuse for that in any context. So.
Also, TK had Jay White on the first Forbidden Door. Like, he knew what the crowd reception would be. I don't know.
He pinned Hangman, didn't he?
He pinned Hangman.
He is really crazy, man. Like I'm sure he's main evented one of the nights of the Tokyo Dome Wrestle Kingdom, didn't he? Like, didn't that Ibushi match main event? The double belt one.
He made it with
yeah, Okada.
Okada, yeah. What's his face?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, that was like not long.
That was 2023. 2023.
So
I don't know what you.
Yeah, Jay White's. I'm one of those people who's like Jay White is that good. You know, like he is that good. I do think he is. I don't think he's like the best wrestler in the world. You know, but I do think he's talent-wise. I do think he's worthy of being like a top guy in AEW. Not the top guy, but like one of like their top 1, 2, 3 heels. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
It's what it is, though. He's not. you know. But yeah, so I wonder what it is though. Like, do you think there is anything to like? Oh, maybe he's pissed someone off, or maybe
No, I just think that's where Tony sees him. I honestly do. And I think that's been consistent for. And there's like a worldwide like a year, not a year, but 6 months ago when someone was like, "What is this?" Bro,
like, he signed him, and he weren't cheap.
Dude,
he wouldn't have been coming cheap. No, but he wouldn't have been. No, but if he,
come on,
no, you're saying like he signed him.
He doesn't see him as a top 2, top 3 heel.
But he signed him and paid him as one.
Right. And what would that change about the thing I just said based on everything we know about the way? Like, that doesn't change what I said, though, right?
I mean, he signs people, yeah, but like the thing is with Jay, I think kind of makes it a bit different. Is like the pricing thing. He's
we
like,
don't know what the price
even
was,
though there has been but WWE obviously will,
they had a hiring freeze situation. Remember?
Yeah, but you could have waited it out.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, look, we have a year about. He's been in the promotion for a year.
Yeah.
What I have just said there seems more than likely the case, does it not? Like, his first thing he did was like an underneath program of Ricky Starks, where like Ricky was teaming with Sean Spears. Like,
I know, but I think up until lately, it's like before. I was going to tweet this, but I didn't quite know how to articulate, so I'm going to try now. Like, with Jay White's booking, up until very recently, there was always kind of like a somewhat fair excuse in the sense of like, because it's hard to do these conversations because AEW fans in general like will come up with an excuse for fucking anything. It's probably excuses for what happened last night. Do you know what I mean?
right.
But like, when he first came in, there was that feeling of like they've snatched him up because WWE are in hiring freeze, and he's made them aware of that, and or whatever the fuck, or he's made it known that he's available to be signed, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they've snatched him up without really having a plan of how to squeeze him in. So like it was a bit of a slow start. You know what I mean? So like I do think that was kind of like somewhat understandable. And then he goes to Collision with Punk, and that has probably been, in terms of like, if you're a Jay White fan, that's probably his strongest run. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of seeing him do what you want to see Jay White do. So it's like, okay, that's trio stuff, and it's like he's heating up to go into like a program with Punk, which is obviously like a huge deal, huge singles deal. Maybe Punk would have put him over. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? We'll never know now. So like, no one's complaining at this time. Do you know what I mean? Then Punk gets fired, and obviously he's kind of floating again. And it's like, you can understand it because it's like, again, the plans that they did have for him, it's like, okay, he's not. Do you know what I mean? He obviously can't do it, so they've had to pivot again. And then you got Continental Classic. He was pretty strongly booked in that, but it wasn't exactly like great TV or anything from him. And like now, and it's like now this most and then obviously the MJF feud was like awful. And like I said earlier, it's like they haven't really made it up to him at all. And it's like But
the MJF feud tells you, it confirms what I just said. Like, they felt like he needed like 101 bells and whistles to even be like a main eventer in a pay-per-view. That tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, but a lot
you don't
of
have
that
to agree with it.
No, but it's like the MJF thing, it's like a lot of people, like we all know, like heavily involved with creative and stuff. MJF was towards the end of his run, but it's like,
dude, he can be involved as he wants. At the end of the day, the booker said, yes, we need to do all this
he
stuff.
says yes to everything. No.
But that's the point I'm making. At the end of the day, you can look at the evidence, you can make excuse for it, but whether you agree with him or disagree with him, it's pretty clear his assessment is just that Jay isn't at that level. Now, I do like Jay. You maybe like him a little bit more than me, but I like him a lot. There are people in our chat that would agree with that assessment. That's ultimately what wrestling comes down to, brother. I mean, it would be I think it would be naive at this point to be like, no, man, he's about to turn it around and win the world's title. Like, look, he's a heel on the show. That's the way they see him. And there are guys that they'll push that we disagree with, and the guys that we'll agree with. I don't know, man. Like, it's been a year, Monè. I mean, at this point, I think that's where he's at.
He's definitely had a weird year, but I do think a lot of it is more so. I don't think the assessment of like this is kind of all Tony sees him, especially like after the conversation we just had regarding the Billy Gunn thing. You know what I mean? Because that's like extreme. Right. Do you know what I mean? Like, in action Andretti. Do you know what I mean? Like, but no offense to action Andretti, solid young work. You know what I mean? But It's a weird one because it's like obviously Tony rates him. Like, so did Tony just not know who he was getting?
He knew what he was getting, and he wanted to sign him because it was a good momentum thing to get him when WWE wanted him.
I think that's more likely that he didn't actually know the talent he was.
No,
I don't think he actually knew the extent of it, other than like he was a top Gaijin in New Japan, and I've seen some of his main matches, like the matches with Okada and stuff like that.
He probably just.
I don't think he
thinks,
understood the Switchblade Jay White properly, been bringing him in.
I don't know. I think he thinks he's a very good wrestler and he's a valuable member of the roster. I don't think he sees him as a tippy top guy. And everyone who's watching this right now will either say I agree with him or I disagree with him. That's the way I think. It's been a year, and I don't think you could really say confidently that there's any evidence to suggest I'm wrong about that.
See, I think it's more of a like he's brought him in thinking I'm getting a top New Japan Gaijin that's going to be able to do X, Y, and Z for me without truly understanding what the Switchblade character was and what his main strengths and weaknesses are outside of like broad stroke stuff that we spoke about. And when he hasn't been able to make fucking chicken soup out of chicken shit, whatever fucking saying you want to use, he's been like, huh? You know? And now it's kind of a like,
to be
I don't
fair, though,
quite know what to do.
Jay was disappointing in those promo segments. You're right, it's not his ideal format, but that's not, like that's still the game though, right? I'm a Jay White fan, but I can't pretend he's had good live promos. He hasn't really had good live promos. Now, you're right, that's not the right format for him, but at some point you do have to, this is a different TV show now, right? This is a different thing. Yeah, it's not been the best. I've seen Jay cut live promos that are basically him just regurgitating catchphrases. It isn't.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And that's, so if he had doubts, then I think those would have confirmed them. Again, let me be clear, folks. I don't think Tony Khan thinks Jay White sucks. I think he sees him as a really good wrestler, a good part of the roster, and a guy he'll use on TV a lot. But I don't think he sees him as like a major priority at all.
Those live segments you've mentioned where he hasn't performed in, and some of them have been like actively like bad. Like you mentioned one where he's like he just regurgitates fucking saying and stuff. He's done quite a lot of that shit with MJF. But it's like I think when Tony puts him in those segments, he's thinking, all right, he's gonna kill it. You know what I mean? Like that New Japan Gaijin who's won all the, you know what I mean? He's top good. Then he sees it and he's like, oh. Why didn't that hit? And I'm not excusing that Jay White didn't perform in these, but I do think that it's like Tony Khan's put him in a position that he was never going to necessarily exceed in, and that doesn't excuse the how much he underwhelmed in those segments. But he
Got to do live promos,
he's yeah, I know, but doing a live promo next to MJF. There's a very different thing. Do you know what I mean?
There's been more than just that segment, though, to be fair.
No, of course. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this excuses how underwhelming it's been, but I just think that Tony feels like when he puts Jay in these positions, he's putting him into a position to succeed.
I agree.
But anyone who actually understands Jay's character would understand that isn't actually an ideal situation for him, although it is an opportunity that he should have done better with, you know?
I agree. So, but that would be the kind of booking that he would give if he really thought about a lot and was a major priority, right? Like, he ain't.
They've tried shit over the year. Do you know what I mean?
They like him. They think he's a good wrestler. They ain't the same as, let's fucking rev up Jay White and give him a top guy run. Like, and like folks in the chat right to point out, he beat Darby Allin, but like, the beauty of Darby, like Kyle O'Reilly beat Darby, right, on pay-per-view. And like, don't get me wrong, Tony Khan loves Kyle O'Reilly, but I don't think he was going to be main event in a pay-per-view after that. It's just, that's the beauty of Darby. He heats up heels. We'll see how this conversation ages, folks. Charlie, I apologize for making you sit and listen to us do this. Charlie, are you still going?
No.
Sorry, I was reading something in chat just then.
I'm calling on Charlie.
Okay, good.
Hello, I'm here. I've
Charlie,
been listening.
Where are you on this? What has been? Where is the disconnect between like Tony's booking and where Jay White should or shouldn't be? Or what do you think it is? It's just me and Joe have just taken up the past 5 minutes.
I think Jay White's been someone that's been a victim of there being so many moving parts in AEW, and there's been so much changing within the last 12 months in the dynamics of the roster, his placement on the roster, and what their vision for him is in the company. And they haven't hit something that actually works for the Switchblade character. Because as much as we all love, like a lot of us love that character, and Jay White's so good at it, it's the same thing he's been doing for about 4 years now. So it's been fresh in AEW because it's a primarily new audience. But at some point, like, you've got to change it up because of it's clearly not hitting the way they want it to. I do think it's weird, like, his first, like, 3-4 months, they didn't give him a live promo, when that is something that everyone that is a Jay White fan is just like, oh shit, he's in the company, he's going to make some magic. And they didn't give him that dynamic until it was like a face-to-face with someone. And then he just fell into a pattern of that. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'm sure he did him on Collision at some point, but my memory's not that good. So I think it is just kind of fallen into a place of he's a very good wrestler that they're going to use on TV, but fans have a different perception of him than the creative and the company currently do. So it's in a weird position for us where we want better for him, and he probably deserves better. But when you look at how much the roster has changed yet again in the last 6 weeks, where do you put him? They should have struck with Jay White last year in a big program because they had more room to play with. They had more gaps for big heels or baby faces at the top of their card, and they didn't strike while the iron was hot in that regard. So that's my take.
And look, the reality is, while we all agree on the Billy Gunn thing being a catastrophe, if you took the AEW roster, you handed it myself, Chuck, Monty, and every single person watching this show, and you said, list these wrestlers in order of what your priority would be if you were booking tomorrow, there would not be a single list that would match. That ultimately is the reality. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. Someone at AEW might be listening to this right now saying, no, that's not true. Jay White is scheduled to main event, insert pay-per-view. I don't know. I've had a year. To me, he looks like he's an upper mid-card heel. We'll see how that ages. Chuck, do we have any other super chats?
We do. You're so hot. You got more bang for your buck there than anyone else tonight, I think. Will Chisholm, $5 super chat. I know Tony Khan was a fan of the Clique, but he doesn't have to book Billy Gunn like it's 1997, and HBK, Hall, and Nash are still in power. Well,
still in power.
God
bless America, you know.
Something like that, yeah. Ricky Starks, $4.99. I'm sure you just came up in conversation somewhere in the last 10 minutes. Joe, hey, big head. My God, what a bit.
Yeah.
We got AO for the accent.
No, I'm not doing it.
Accent, that's one word for it. I hope Ricky's well. Poor Ricky, dude's fucking luck is brutal. I hope he's okay.
Yeah.
It was such a weird one as well, wasn't it? It was like a Pele kick.
Yeah. He did post it. It was just a stinger, and he was being precautious.
Right.
So fingers crossed he's all good.
Yeah, all the best.
And good for him as well for like being precautious, because like 9 out of 10 wrestlers, brother, would just be like, all right, let's just
we win.
Let me try and do this pole driver.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Big advocate for wrestlers looking out for themselves. Not enough of them do it. Will Chisholm, $5. Super chat. It didn't help Jay when they made Juice cut that quarters promo to MJF. That was just a weird time in Dynamite, anyways.
It was very unfortunate, and it didn't help.
Well, it fucking sucked,
but I don't think that really affected the conversation.
No.
You know,
I agree. Yeah. There was other things with Jay in that particular feud that were much more detrimental to him specifically.
I like Charlie's point of how she brought up, like, it took so long for him to get even a mic in his hand, you know what I mean? So
that is something we talked about on a week-to-week basis for a long time.
It genuinely was. Like, wait,
he talked about
what the fuck? People were waiting for the graphic.
That feud was like, it was really weird the way it was handled at the time, because it felt like a big get. But anyway, now you can just go back to the April 2023 reviews, folks.
Yeah,
we appreciate the support. We hope you're enjoying the show.
Absolutely.
If you have enjoyed the show, do the thumbs up and the subscribe. Also, Monty, right, when the show ends, comment below what you think about the great Jay White.
Yeah.
I won't ever see it, but comment it because it's worth getting involved in.
I might see it because sometimes I
Chuck will
do
see
check
it.
the comments. They're very
And
funny.
if Chuck sees, she'll screenshot the ones that sound right and send them to me because that's what
Yes.
friends are all about.
Yes.
Willow Nightingale was out next
Oh,
live
God.
on Dynamite, and she
thank
cut
God.
an awesome babyface promo. They had the like old school WWF deal where it was like the crowd was the backdrop, which popped me huge and confused many other people, but
Yes.
I liked it, so whatever. Just your classic babyface TV promo. Would have fit in like an old school studio, getting the people with her, telling her story. It kicked ass. It was awesome. And then Stokely even got a little bit of a chance to speak some, which has been less common than you'd expect considering what his skill set is, but he was good here. And then Mercedes came out and pretty much out we said, right? Double or nothing, Vegas. And so we're pretty much, kind of unofficially set the stage where we're headed here, right? We discussed it a lot earlier. I think we talked about Mercedes enough earlier to say that we should really focus more on Willow's promo, which was terrific. The people with her. Charlie, talk to us about this segment here. Go for it.
Willow Nightingale is one of the only pure baby faces left in wrestling, and I think that AEW should push her to the moon because there's not a whole lot of people, especially on the women's roster, unfortunately, that are getting the crowd behind them the way that Willow did last night. Like, they were so up for it, and they were supporting her at, like, literally every turn of the promo. Like, she had them in the palm of her hand, and, like, she's just had a great weekend anyways. Like, she had that great promo on Dynamite. She had a stellar performance at the Stardom show. She did great in CMLL last week. Like, she's on a real roll right now, and they should absolutely take that momentum and belt her up at Dynasty. I think she should beat Julia. And honestly, as much as I'm looking forward to the Mercedes match, them telegraphing it for Double or Nothing is kind of a bummer because I don't want Willow to have a short reign. And I don't think, I can't necessarily see Mercedes losing her first match. Like, I don't know. But the promo itself, fucking awesome. I think Willow's the best. She's such a rare sunshine.
Yeah, it feels like they may have like a specific finish in mind, right? To do that Double or Nothing deal. Like maybe it is Mercedes cheating to win and being a heel. I'm not sure. That feels in play, honestly. But very, very interesting. Monty, what did you make of the segment, mate?
Oh man, Willow Nightingale. She's really special, man. Like genuinely, like not just of. So Charlie mentioned the word momentum. I think it's a lot kind of like deeper ingrained than that, like, because it's like. I guess like when does momentum stop becoming momentum and it's just who they are? If that makes sense, it's like Willow. How long have we been doing like these Dynamite reviews? It's like every arena Willow gets over in. It's been over a year, bro. Like she's been, and it's like it's not like she's changed much. Like yeah, she might be slightly better worker or something like that, but like Willow's it's pretty much the same Willow that I remember seeing on the Indies, and she's still just as infectious. Her promo style is the same. It's very like charming and cute and just baby faces, and you just kind of you just love her, you know. She just like I said, infectious is the main word for Willow, I think. Whether that's like crowd reactions, whether that's the way she talks, even the way she wrestles, bro, like the pounce, the way that she poses and stuff, and she hits something and fires up, like she's just fucking awesome. I think it was good that Charlie mentioned that the crowd was just with her the entire way of this promo. But there was a moment where he kind of ramped up a bit, where she talks about like how sometimes she has doubts at a girl that looked like her with curly hair, weirdo, etc., could like make it, and the fans would always uplift her.
It was awesome,
and the crowd like really, really resonated with that. Do you know what I mean? And they really got behind that, and that was just like if above everything else, that was just like a really like cool wrestling moment to see. And moments like that in wrestling are special, like when a crowd really gets behind the babyface, especially when it's something kind of something people can like connect with like that, you know. Especially when it's something where you can visualize, like I don't know, like a little black girl sat at home being inspired by a Willow Nightingale. I do think that is something that is very easy to imagine, you know. Willow's very, 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 very special, to the point where I think she's the one, because even though this isn't a take I've given public, I don't think I've spoken to many people about this, but I do think that AEW, with Mercedes Monè coming in, and her being clearly someone that you're going to build a division around. And you should build a division around. She's a huge star, and she's a tremendous, tremendous talent. And she's a certified star maker as well. I think that she needs an AEW career equal and rival, because it's all well and good uplifting the division and putting Mercedes Monè in the middle of all these flyers and stuff. And but who's you got Rock and Austin, like who's
Yeah, you need
what
an
everyone,
equal,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like who is the equal? And yeah, I'm
Has to be
excited to
Willow.
see. Yeah, and I'm excited to see Mercedes go through the AEW division from from Willow to to Jamie Hayter and fuck it, even like Britt Baker and people like that, and Yoshidas and the other common names that you see people name. But there's just something special about Willow as a babyface, as Charlie mentioned as well. One of the true, genuine babyfaces left in this business. People don't get sick of her. People don't roll the rolls at her. People just genuinely take to her and just love her because she's lovable, and it's easy to see why. I think she should be the one that is built up as her equal. She should be on the flyers on the opposite end of it with Mercedes Monè, because the word from AEW is when we see these posters and flyers, especially recently on this current run era, however you call your phases of time in wrestling, this current run that they're in, those posters are done blatantly. Like, the people they are focusing on right now are the people who are centralized in these posters. And ever since I've found out this over the past few weeks, it's like the thing I'm noticing is Mercedes is very central in some of these, and the only other woman sometimes on these posters is Toni Storm.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like,
That isn't the yeah.
do you know what I
I
mean? That isn't kind of the message that, especially when it's not a scoop, it's like some bullshit that you just hear, do you know what I mean? But it is like the word from AEW that these posters are being done with the idea in mind that we are trying to translate a message of who our stars for the future and who our stars right now will be. So now I'm looking at the posters a bit different. I'm sure you guys will, if you believe a word I'm saying, it does make you look at them a bit differently. And it's like, it does feel like they are kind of just doing like Mercedes, which I get because Mercedes is awesome, but it would be nice if next to that, it's the Mercedes and Willow era. And we're talking about Mercedes and Willow 20 years from now, like people do with, like Mickey and Trish, but obviously in a more modernized, you know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
They don't have to do the stuff that they had to do, but that is an iconic women's
Paired
wrestling
in
feud.
history. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think AEW do obviously have the opportunity to do that because they have so many talented women to choose from. But I do think, as talented as that roster is, and I do love AEW's women's roster, I think they've got some great talents on it. But Willow's she's the one, as I started my little speech, rant, waffling way too long.
I
But
agree.
she's special, man. She's very, very, very special. Like, uniquely one of one special, I think she can be transcendent, I think she can reach the level of stardom as a horsewoman. I think she can reach one of the top stars in AEW as a whole, man or woman. I think she's very special.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think the finish is for Double or Nothing, guys? Chuck, I'll start with you.
Ooh, I think it's going to cement Mercedes' heel turn, and she's going to cheat to win.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Monè, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think that probably should be the finish.
Yeah.
I think the last finish they should do is might sound a bit biased because especially after the rant I just went on about, well, I wouldn't call that a rant, that passion-filled love letter about Willow. I think the last thing they should do here is beat Willow clean. I think Mercedes should either cheat to win or Willow should genuinely just beat her and and that can be a way of how they can kind of, present what I was just talking about. But fuck, Willow's defeated Mercedes. Because let's be honest, bro, Mercedes ain't buried if she loses. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she would be fine. It wouldn't be ideal if you're a Mercedes fan. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I'm torn on it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
First
wouldn't.
match, I don't know, man.
Bro, I'd take it over Mercedes beating Willow just flat in the middle.
No, I agree with you. I agree. I just think that her being a heel was the right finish,
Yeah,
right? Like
so
you said,
look, I think that's
yeah.
my top choice. Is
Yeah.
Mercedes just I don't know.
It feels like Mercedes
goes
wants to
heel.
be a heel. Like
She
she's
does.
she like
She's
that's
already
her
leaned
nature.
that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's where we're going.
She can slay more, you know. It's
That,
true though.
that
It
does
is
bring
true,
up a
man.
good point
It's like,
that
I
we
remember.
haven't accounted for Statlander. So.
Oh, that is a good one.
Statlander, yeah, that could be a
so
turn for sure.
Mercedes loves that shit. It's like when she like did the famous heel turn when she backs the wig off. She's got the what's it called?
That's such an iconic.
Change
Yeah.
colour of wig. I can't. She had the pink on and switched to blue. Is that what it
Yeah.
was?
Yeah, she had a really shitty like burgundy wig on, and then she had she just ripped it off and had the blue on under.
But even the way she'd done that, it was just like it had some like sass with it, you know. Like she loves like that kind of archetype, you know. So it doesn't surprise me that we're getting the impression that she wants to be a heel, you know.
Yeah, and she's paired with Willow, like it kind of feels inevitable. But
Yeah.
speaking of heel, Trent Brea, Orange Cassidy,
God bless.
tag team semi-final against Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks. This was, to say we've been predicting this for a while would be an understatement. I think we've been talking about the Trent Brea heel turn for about a decade at this point.
Yeah.
Less time than it took Hangman to turn heel, though, so I'll take
There
this
you
one
go.
as a win.
It's finally here, but first let's talk about the match. The Bucks advanced to the finals, as expected, of the tag team title tournament, and I thought this was a good match. Chuck, what did you make of the match itself?
I enjoyed this match quite a lot. I tweeted about it. I actually think the Bucks have gained the most from this tag tournament so far because if they've just been able to work with people they know and like really tweak their in-ring to work with their new characters. Like they've found a good middle ground in between their old way of working and like what they were trying to do, like post heel turn and post comeback. So no, I thought this was pretty good. Coming out with Sue popped me a lot, and we got to talk about the Jack Perry references because God forbid we don't bring up the scapegoat. No, these were not shots at CM Punk. Please God realize that they are teasing a Jack Perry return, and that's all it was. The fact that it was born out of CM Punk drama with him is unrelated, but whatever. Twitter is dumb. But yeah, match pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Monty, did you like the match? You have a list?
I should do like a running spot of,
Yeah.
you know, because I'm not going to be
Just
on these
listing
every
people's
week.
offense.
So a lot of people will be happy to hear that I won't be on these every week, you know. But if something truly is disgusting on AEW Dynamite, I might do an occasional run-in with a list. But so why you phrased the question? Did I like this match? You know,
Pretty broad question, really, mate.
I don't. It wasn't like I didn't. I was indifferent.
Sounds like
on it,
no.
you know?
It sounds like no.
No. It's because that sounds a certain way. You get me? I was indifferent on it.
She didn't like
And
it.
I think I didn't not like it. Do you know what I'm saying?
I didn't ask that, bro. I said, do you like it? And the answer seems to be no, which is fine. Advance as you were. Proceed.
Yeah. All right. So, like with the Bucks at the moment, a few weeks ago, it was kind of like, and they had a match with someone, and it was just kind of like okay, but they did a lot of character stuff, and it was very clear that they're trying to really like drill in this character stuff that they're doing. But I feel like now their matches, what I think their kind of recipe, what they're gonna do is kind of they're just gonna kind of like fuck around and do like character work on the TV matches. Then when it gets to pay-per-view, they're gonna have the Young Bucks match. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because their matches, because I remember like their legendary AEW tag title reign. It was like when you saw a Bucks graphic, it was like, all right, let's lock in. You know, it was like, okay, the party's on. You know, whereas like now it's a little bit more tame because obviously they get older. They're not as what I mean. They're still capable of doing all the things that they can do, but it's just not as often. And yeah, they're playing into that somewhat smartly because they've got a character where they can fill up matches with more character work and stuff and that than they have in recent years, and they can kind of get by. Then they can have like decent matches still, but the TV matches now, I do think that the TV books matches, they're going to be far and few between in terms of the ones that like really blow us away.
The
like
big
having,
ones, yeah.
I think those are going to be very, very far and few between on TV, and they'll just kind of have like decent matches with good character working, more so on TV now. Which is
Fine.
fine. The thing you want to I struggle with the most of the Bucks TV matches the past few weeks. Bro, bro, in picture they take the piss. They take the piss, bro. Like it's not even like good heel work. Like they just kind of just walk around doing like they take the piss. Like come on, But other than that,
it's very funny.
Even though the matches aren't as dynamic and exciting and stuff as kind of you get used to as a Bucks fan, it's they're still good and they're still kind of doing their thing out there. But again, in picture, bro, they take the piss.
Okay. Trent Beretta turned on Orange Cassidy, as we mentioned here, folks. Chuck Taylor looked very sad. He even walked away from Sue, which is, sums it up, really. Chuck, are you excited to finally get this heel turn? I mean, as you said, not quite the Hangman level, but this has been a going bit on this show. Are you fired up for it now it's happened?
I am intrigued because of Chuck Taylor didn't seem to make any decision in a moment. He just kind of looked a bit depressed. And I don't know if you guys saw the exclusive that they did with Trent with Chris Stat chasing him down. He whispered she was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, that was like your best friends. That was your mom. Like, what are you doing? And he just kind of whispered something in her ear. And it sounded like you only have one life, Kristen. So I don't know whether this is also like signaling the Chris Statlander heel turn that we've been predicting is coming. But yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I hope that it's heel Roppongi Vice and not just a Trent singles run. Nothing against it.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's not a Trent. It's just, look at the roster and what
the tag division.
It's just,
they need them.
I've said it 1,001 times, but if you could give top flight Roppongi Vice in a series on TV, I think they'd get a lot out of that. But yeah, into this, Monè, heel Trent, fired up.
Really like heel Trent as a worker. I think at this point now in his AEW run, I don't think you'd say he was underrated because I think the AEW audience is very well aware that he's a guy that you can plug into matches and he will perform very well. I guess you could say, like in a broad sense of the wrestling world, he's underrated. But it feels like we've been saying that for so long, and everyone says it now. But it's like how underrated. Yeah, it's like how underrated is he actually? Because everyone's aware of what Trent can do in the ring. He's good, man. Big fan. Respect him a lot. But that being said, very much to echo Charlie's point, but a little bit more aggressively. If this is just singles Trent as a heel, like I can't think of anything I could give less of a fuck about. However, a heel tag team thing with Roppongi Vice is actively like the opposite end of the scale. Like I'll be like doing beats on the timeline and everything. I'll be tweeting Terror Man and pics like Joe Hall and shit. You know what I mean? Like I'll be going like completely. I'm either completely uninterested or like I'm all in. So I guess we see where it goes. But I really do hope it is a Roppongi Vice tag thing.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I could equally see him being put in some kind of a faction. That feels like something that could happen. So we'll see which one of those it is. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
It depends what the options are. Who are the potential options, Charlie?
What of a fact for a faction?
Is he gonna join a faction or would he like create his own?
I mean, when I first pitched that Trent was turning heel, it was the Undisputed Kingdom. So
add another generic white guy to the Undisputed Kingdom.
No generic white. Listen, man, they were feuding with the Kingdom at the time. I don't think that that's the right thing to do. I don't know. Yeah. I would have him, Chris, and Rocky Man around together because I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah. It'd be interesting where Chucky falls in this because, like, I don't know what Chuck's hurt right now, right?
Yes.
I thought you were talking about Charlie for a second.
Yeah, I'm really upset
No.
about this.
I'm cooked, man. I swear.
Brother, you are anything but cooked tonight. I don't think we've spoke tonight other than you. We've been like doing a monologue the whole time. It's been incredible.
You know what it is though? I feel bad after those podcasts because I'm like, did I talk too much?
I mean, you're a guest though, right? Like you're just like,
yeah, well, not
Yes.
really. It's fucking my channel.
on Thursdays, you're a guest, dude. You know,
I
it's like,
mean, yeah.
don't worry about it. You're
As
enjoying
long as
yourself.
people don't get too sick of me. If a few people do, I don't give a fuck. But as long as everyone don't get sick of me, I'm alright. You know.
Just look at a super
Yeah.
chat. I'm sure we're fine.
Good house.
Keep on coming.
Yes, please do.
Indeed.
Oh, we'll get to him in a minute.
Anyway, Trent Britter is a heel now. Chuck, do you want to get to those couple of super chats you were talking about? Go for it.
The Jizzle $2 super chat. Crowd for Willow was even louder than on TV. Yeah, I can imagine. Like crowds like that, it's always a better vibe in the building.
I might change my profile pic to a Willow Nightingale picture until further notice. I don't know.
Right, let's take calm it down.
I think that she's fucking awesome, bro.
You know what we need?
Jeez.
We need. You know the photo.
I'll
of
write a song.
Nakanishi? You know. You know the Nakanishi photo where he's pumping his fit. We need Willow on that deal. Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we really need. That could be a profile pic.
And the New Japan logo should be pink.
There you
God
go.
bless.
Price goes up now, but yeah, good call. I like it.
Yuzora Heart $5. That was a 5-star Holbrook classic. I like Jay White. He's not a tippy top guy on US wrestling television, and I don't think that's a slight.
I don't either.
Beauty in the
few
eye
people who
beholder. Right, that's it. Beauty in the eye beholder. It's if I had the book in AEW, you guys would fucking hate the people I'd push on that show. You would not.
Oh.
So.
I don't know. I think I could.
Money coming on. And up next, folks, we had Dax Harwood's 16th TNT title defense. Charlie, what did you think? You know,
That would depend on a week-to-week basis because I can do some Dax singles matches, some of them I can't. If it was Dustin Rhodes, I'm out. Like,
well, you'd be in trouble, Chuck. All right, is that our super chat?
speaking of champions that don't wrestle, this is completely unrelated to everything. Where the fuck is Roderick Strong?
Oh, fucking no.
He wrestled. He wrestled.
He's wrestling on Rampage, right?
Who did he wrestle, bro? He wrestled someone like that. Who was it? Like Dustin Rhodes or something?
No, that's the match we thought we were getting.
Daddy Magic.
Yeah,
Daddy
he did
Magic.
How did I forget? I had a hell of a time.
This Friday, he's wrestling.
Some local guy in it.
It's an indie guy. Yeah, I forget his name.
Something Lightning. I don't know.
London
Lightning.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I'll probably watch that. I don't know why. I probably will. So,
lack of Roddy content. Lack of Kyle O'Reilly content. I was very upset.
It's a shame, isn't it? It feels like he's kind of just like forgotten about, but then I remember at the end, and like, oh fuck, we've got a bit of space on Rampage. But, you know?
Yeah. So Roddy's in the building. Let's get him on.
I've kind of conceded on it, to be honest.
It's so dumb.
It's like
Getting...
For me, it's like, you know, it's not sound dramatic, but it's like it's sad, you know.
It's genuinely upsetting. Like, they established the fact that the international title was the belt we could rely on. Oh, we're going to get like a cool little match this week. Like, the international belt's going to be defended. But as soon as it changes hands, they don't give a fuck about it. It's just like, what has Roderick Strong done wrong? Like, oh.
It's great. It's like, I understand that Orange Cassidy is one of like TK's favourites to like fill up time on a show, and he doesn't tank ratings or anything like that. I'm not saying Roddy's a draw or anything, you know. I very much doubt that to be the case. But at the same time, it's like the fans have grew accustomed to the international belt being defended a certain way, and obviously the belt now with Orange Cassidy's reigns with it has developed a reputation of being like a workhorse belt, especially with Christian Cage holding the TNT belt as long as he was holding it, because that couldn't be the workhorse belt either. So as a Roddy Strong fan, I think I've spoken about this before. It's like, you know, like obviously in WWE, he had like a weird neck injury, and you know what I mean, you didn't know whether it was going to be like a Bobby Roode thing, you know, like where it's like now he's basically effectively retired. I know I think he said not that long ago that he's actually cleared, but he's basically effectively retired now, you know. Had a weird neck injury. got into agenting, and now you'd assume that he's just comfortable and happy doing that, you know. And as a Bobby Roode fan, I'm happy for him, you know, and stuff. But is there a part of me that wish he would have had like one last like proper run? Do you know what I mean? Of course there is. I think Bobby Roode's a great wrestler, and it was kind of something similar with Roddy, except for obviously he didn't actually get into the agenting thing. It was just like he was off TV for super long. We knew he had neck problems and stuff like that. Then he gets released. After then he requests to release and get denied and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it was this really frustrating time if you was a fan of Roddy who just wants to see him do what he does, which is just wrestle, throw hard chops, back breakers, and just pop through him, innit? So like you go through this really frustrating period of not having him, and you kind of started to accept that okay, maybe he's just done. Like Bobby Roode, like this. Sorry to bring up that example again, but like it's kind of similar in that sense. And then you know he gets the AEW sign in. He somehow gets a fucking 4-star match out of Chris Jericho in his first match. You know, oh my god, he's going to fucking cook in his promotion. You know, and then from that point, he just starts to slow down. So now, we want to see Roddy wrestle. And he gets a chance with the Undisputed Kingdom. You're like, okay, it's not exactly the most ideal thing in the entire planet, but like, we'll fucking take it because he's going to be part of like TV angles and programs and stuff now. And then it's like, okay, he's got his eyes on the international belt. We made it, Joe. We made it.
This
We
is
made
just
it.
like.
We made.
What are you doing this to me for? Like, I'm just sitting here
Joe.
listening to this trauma getting recorded.
No, but we thought we made it. It's not playing up. We got there. He's with the Undisputed Kingdom, this new hot faction apparently, the heels that are going to take over the company.
I know.
And Roddy Strong, the Messiah of the Backbreaker, is talking about the work rate belt that we see defended every week. Yeah. I'm gassed. You get me? I am fucking fired up, bro. He wins the fucker in a really good match as well.
Yep.
That's it. You know what I mean? All those dreams I had are just shattered.
I'm not drinking alcohol. It's iced tea.
I feel like as my friend, you didn't need to put me through that entire monologue. I don't want,
these AEW podcasts that I'll do from now on, I think they're just like therapy for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just.
I was just gonna try and be positive about him wrestling London Lightning. I didn't know. I was just gonna move on. I didn't.
Nah, this is a thing, and I'm very annoyed with AEW for setting a precedent with that belt and then just not following through on it when it's on a wrestler we want to see, like, have matches. Like, nothing against Orange Cassidy. I like watching him wrestle, but bro, he wrestled with that belt. He defended that belt about 72 times in the space of a year. Like, that's not even 72 weeks. Like, I don't know. It's real frustrating. It's so frustrating.
I don't know, man. For about 6 weeks, he was like a comedy character with neck brace and in a wheelchair. I'm taking it.
That's what I mean. Even in AEW, we've been through some rough times, mate.
I'm taking it. I watched the London Lightning match. They've beat me into submission with this. I don't give a shit. I watched the Daddy Magic match last week. I don't care.
I'll pop for the Daddy Magic match, but still, I did, Joe, but fuck me. It'd just be nice if he was the random graphic guy like Orange Cassidy was, you know. And I understand like he's not going to be opening the shows and be putting that much because again, you know, Tony Khan loves his Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy is proven non-rating tank. I'm not sure how much of a draw he is these days. I think that kind of gets overstated because he was once upon a time, you know, and because of his YouTube numbers, especially at the start of the company. But I know he's not tanking. He's not tanking quarter. I think I've actually got the quarter hours up. So
I've seen him on my
Oh my god, we have quarters now too.
I mean, if you want to, carry on the show.
We'll close with him. We'll build to it like his name.
If there's anything interesting, yeah, but I doubt it. Hardly ever anything.
Joe, I think
Bandito should be champion when he comes back.
Yeah, maybe. I think we have a couple new super chats, right, Chuck? In the time that Monty reminded me of all that traumatic experience.
Chi-Town Spurs, another $5 super chat. A Holbrook Collision is the only world where I'd get a Roddy Strong vs Dutch match for the TNT title. We can only dream.
Dude, that match would fucking rule. He'd fling him around and shit. I love when Roddy Wrestles big boys like that. It's always fun. Dutch is, I actually do like Dutch. Chi-Town Spurs is right. He'd be on the roster. Don't shake your head at me.
I don't know which one he is in the tag team, but like it's quite.
He's the one who's dressed like the big boss man, and he has a great boss man slam. There's no reason for heads to be shaken like that.
Boy, that's offensive to me, bro.
He has a great boss man slam.
No, I know, but like, just using Big Boss Man's name in vain like that.
He dresses like him. What do you want from me? He wears the same clothes as him. What is wrong? I wouldn't even say anything negative. I literally said I like him. What is God almighty. Right. God.
Oh dear, we have another super chat. This could start something. Isaac Newton, $2 super chat. I know it was you, Monty.
I did feel kind of bad about that because it's like when the AEW Ring of Honor releases happened, and it was like people were like at me when Gravity got released. It's like, bro, I'm not happy about this. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? And I know people are just fucking around and stuff, but it's just kind of like in my ideal scenario, he wouldn't have got signed in the first place. But if you're gonna sign him, honor the contract, then it. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the kind of. I'm not going to get into an AEW releases discourse thing, but you know, like AEW was the company that honored the contracts. We're a family here. We don't do mass releases here. This is as recently as I think like September last year when WWE did the merger and released like 100 people, as in like staff and wrestlers.
Yeah.
And Tony did an interview like, "Oh, we're a family here. We'll never do mass releases." Blah 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 blah. And yeah, it's not 30 wrestlers he's released, but 10's not exactly insignificant, you know. So yeah, the gravity thing, I'm never happy to see, as much as I don't think he should have been signed in the first place. But if you are going to give him a contract, at least see it through. You know, even if he is shit, do you know what I mean? Even if he was the worst wrestler on the planet, you decided to sign him, honor it.
Yeah. Indeed. I agree. Ben Dixon, $5 Australian. Monty about to talk about mid-2010s Tottenham and trust the process 76ers to push Holbert over the edge.
I'm already over the edge.
Right.
We're at 2 hours and 27 minutes and we have like 2 segments left to talk about. I'm usually in bed by now. I'm usually waking up for the next day by now. It's been outrageous, Chuck. Why did we let the Renegade back in the...
I know. It's been funny as fuck.
As soon as he told me he was on this show, I said, you're going to be a menace on this program. Anyway.
I surprised myself by how, like...
Surprise myself.
I surprised myself by like how ranty and just like annoyed.
Very aggressive, dude.
Yeah, like it surprises me. Like Joe will say something complete. Like I'll even half agree with something. Like, wow,
just get mad about it. There's a power you take from being in the analyst seat that is really quite frightening. Really, it's dangerous. Mariah May, Thunder Rosa, in ring, main event. And this was okay. They brought the physicality, but unfortunately, there is only so many weeks I can say Thunder Rosa is rusty before I kind of concede on. I don't know. I've done it like every week, and she doesn't look great since she came back, which I'm very sympathetic because I know it was a serious injury, but that was pretty apparent here, Chuck. Right? Like it was not. Considering she was going over, I didn't think it was a great showcase for Thunder Rosa. It was a fine match, but what did you think of it, Chuck?
I think that Mariah kind of completely outshone her, which is not what you want when you're about to win a match and go into the women's world title match at the next pay-per-view. I don't know that putting Thunder Rosa in this position right now was a good idea, but I guess it gets it out the way. Like, I don't know what a match between her and Tony in 2024 looks like. It's going to be very scary, I think, watching this pay-per-view. But yeah, this was a bit... It was just kind of naff. Like, Thunder didn't look great. I hope that she's still, like... She's still shaking off ring rust or whatever, and, like, she gets back to, like, a more workable level. But Mariah looked great. she's like improving in matches like this, and which is kind of crazy because she's not getting a whole lot to work with, to be honest. I kind of think they should just kind of like pull forward whatever the timeline is on the Mariah Tony story and get that going properly, because they're clearly struggling for things for Tony to do in the meantime. So
yeah, I agree. Mariah's been very impressive. Unfortunately, not a great showing for Thunder Rosa, Monè, who we're both fans of. What did you make of this?
Yeah, we are both fans of Thunder Rosa. I like Thunder Rosa a lot, man. But it's not necessarily because she's like the smoothest technician or anything like that. Like there is something like clunky and gritty about the way she wrestles, and that's not to like excuse that. Like, I'm not going to be like, well, actually, I thought she was great. That's not in that match,
Right?
But it is kind of like one of the elements to her game that just doesn't make a particularly great matchup for certain people. Mariah May did look good in this, and Mariah May is a lot more polished as a professional wrestler, just like fundamentally and stuff like that. Her strokes are better. She just kind of looks smoother out there. This was obviously quite evident last night when you watch them wrestling each other in the same ring. But yeah, Rosa just... She's going to bring, like, if you give her kind of like the tools to be able to go into a match where she can bring like a real sense of like grit and intensity, I think that's something where she can really do something with. It's almost a shame that this Tony Storm match doesn't have like more of a heated story going into the pay-per-view where they could do a stipulation. I think that would help. I think that would genuinely help them quite a lot, especially Thunder Rosa. Whereas outside of that, if they do just do a straight up women's world title match, I'm in a similar boat to Charlie, where it's like I don't know what that's going to look like. It could end up being pretty decent, you know. But on the other hand, there's about 20 different versions of this that are like, eesh, you know. So again, no, I was about to say similar to the Jay Watt thing. This isn't similar to the Jay Watt thing, but it's also a thing of like playing to your talent's strengths. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think this was like bad booking or anything to put Thunder Rosa and Mariah May in a match together. Like, you know what I mean? It makes sense and kind of similar to what Charlie said again. You know, you need to get... This is something that you kind of need to do with Thunder Rosa, bro, because it kind of already took long. It's already took too long, you know. Like, she never lost the bout, you know. It took too long for her to come back, like, because she was cleared for months, remember, before she even came back. So you know, there's I get why they're doing it. It was just kind of... I don't think it's the end of the world. It wasn't great.
Right.
I don't think it was a horrible match or anything either, to be honest. No. It almost looked like... I don't want to say as I expected, because I wasn't exactly thinking this match out beforehand. Like, oh, how's this going to look? Like, we didn't do a preview or anything like that. But again, I'm not really surprised with how this match looked when you look at them stylistically. So. Yeah,
I do. There's a style, and I do think Paul Rosa's form is also prevalent, right? It's a combination. It's
how good?
She was a lot better than this, dude. She was a lot better. I think if you rewatched it, you'd be surprised.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah. I'm not saying she was like a... Because you're right, she wasn't like a you know, pure classical work. She always had like a kind of roughness around the edges, but she was so much more explosive, man. That's the big thing to me. Yeah. She used to be able to
I haven't watched one of her old matches.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. There's truth to what you're saying. I think if you watched a match side by side, it would stand out to you how much more like...
I definitely agree. She's I definitely agree that she's on not good form at the moment. It's just like I don't because I haven't seen a match like you said in so long of like one of her old ones that I don't kind of have the context of how start the differences. You know,
feels like the back injuries really sapped her of like explosion and speed. It's a shame. It is. Hopefully, it's just a thing she's working through and she'll get better. We'll see. Okay. Final call on Super Chats, folks, as we're at our main event segment. Smirjo Swerve Strickland contract signing. The one negative here really was the thing that was mentioned earlier, the kind of ill-advised line in the midst of Joe's promo. But overall, this was a really strong segment, right? A really strong segment with some great physicality afterwards. The physicality really was just spot on. And it's the kind of thing that you underestimate when you're doing a review show like this. You can gloss over it, but when it looks good, it really helps. Yeah. It looked great here. Joe busted Swerve up with the chain. He got juice, whole deal. Signed the contract in blood, and then Joe got the last laugh after all. And it felt like the angle this needed, really, didn't it? I mean, I think it was very, very important they had this segment and it hit. And it did, thankfully. Very strong segment to close Dynamite show. What did you make of the contract signing?
Yeah, we had talked about how this feud kind of like had taken a little bit of a backseat to the to other feuds being built up on Dynamite at the moment, and that they needed to make it more of a central thing again. And I think they definitely achieved that this week. Joe being so rattled after Swerve signed the contract in blood that he came back and dropped him through the fucking table was awesome. And it was just like a really great way to close Dynamite. And it just made me think about the parallels between the Hangman and Kenny feud, and Hangman signing that contract and like that being done in blood, and Kenny leaving him laid out in that contract signing. That there was a few parallels there that I thought were quite interesting. And even in the way that Swerve approached his promo with, in this segment, like there were some parallels to the way that Hangman used to talk when he was going up against Kenny. I'll have to rewatch the segment properly to like get like the full thing of it. But yeah, it's interesting. I still don't think they're going back to the Hangman feud just yet, but I think it is something to keep an eye on, because Swerve, like that is like they're rocking Austin at the moment, and the fact that it's a central feud for them that they're probably going to build on for the next couple of years. So yeah, really love this segment. Joe, like outside of that one line, was great on the mic as always. Swerve is ready, man. He's the one. Like he's going to be the one to beat Joe for the title at Dynasty. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and I think this angle is going to shape that match some too. I think it's going to be a more violent match than maybe, and which I think is the best version of that match. To be honest,
I agree.
I don't need a sequence-heavy Swerve Joe match in 2024, but we'll see what they come up with. Monty, what did you make of the segment, mate?
It was decent. I thought it was decent. Yeah, I thought it was decent. I thought the physicality was good. Joe was good on the mic. Obviously, there was a thing that, do I even have to do that? You know what I mean? It's like all of us have already said it. I said it earlier. Yeah. It's like Joe was good on the mic, but I don't have to say that for the fourth time. Joe was good on the mic. Swerve did what he had to do. I kind of like how the physicality escalated. Joe just punching the shit out of him in the corner with the chain. Like, that was cool. You don't have to throw me off, though. It's like, and this throws me off with anyone. It's not even necessarily a dig at Swerve. It's just like with anyone. Yeah, you know when like wrestlers are trying to like look like a sicko or some shit, you know, and like to do that voice. It's like, oh, Joe, if that's the best you've got, it's just like, I don't know. It was just like it was just a step too far performative wise. Well, just a bit cringe, but I thought overall it was pretty deep. I think he didn't blow me away, but he did pop me how like Swerve was like, "Is that the best you've got?" And then like fucking Smojo just runs down there, kicks him in the balls, and puts him through a table. He's like, "Nah, that's the best I've got."
I do agree with you that Swerve can be overly dramatic in situations like that.
He's got certain instincts that you know.
It doesn't frustrate me as much as it does you, but he definitely sometimes swings so big with parts of his character that it can feel a little bit. Or in your case,
you gotta love that though, innit? You gotta love that as well, because it's like
because he's trying, isn't he?
He's a wrestler. He's a wrestler, bro. People think I hate Swerve. It's the chat now, but I don't hate Swerve. But I think it's a thing that
I do get what you mean. I do actually get what you mean. Generally, it's it works more for me than you, but I do concede that like he's always very apparent. He's trying, and that again, that's a positive. He knows exactly where he wants this character to be. The performance may not always be a 10, but he's swinging big, which I appreciate.
Yes,
and I did like it here personally. So yeah, Dynamite. It's all right, wasn't it?
Dynamite.
Decent show, isn't it?
Interesting couple of hours.
Yeah, decent. Well, you seem to like it, mate. You seem to enjoy yourself.
I thought the to flip what CM Punk said earlier this week, I thought the negatives outweighed the positives.
That was unnecessary. You didn't have to quote Punk to say that. That was unnecessary.
Listen, I didn't even quote Punk. That's the best bit about it. Like I flipped the quote around. Now, honestly though, because it's like when the first 40 minutes of your show or whatever is like the Adam Copeland promo, Danielson and Ospreay, and everything everyone's talking about is the Copeland promo. That's not good, bro. Like that's not a good 40 minutes of TV. Then is it? Do you know what I mean? 'Cause it's like for me when I finish a show, especially now that we do like reviews the past couple of years or whatever, it's like my thing. I get to an end of the show, and it's like whether I'm doing the tweet the next day to promote the podcast. It's like what happened on this show.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're talking, what happened on this show was an absolute terrible, one of the worst segments they've ever done. The Copeland segment everyone's talking about. Mercedes announced herself for a match in fucking 2 months' time. There was a contract signing. Yeah, you know, like if you're breaking it down to someone, if someone just quickly asks you, "Oh, what was on Dynamite last night?" Like those are just things that you'd say. Like you bring up like those negatives, and I just think that the negatives in terms of what you're coming out of the show thinking outweighed the positives last night. So I didn't think it was a good show, although it did have good bits on it. Like Ospreay and Danielson matches were both good. The Bucks match was decent. The Willow promo was great. But again, there was like there was too much shit in the cocktail, you know.
Did you find anything interesting in those quarter hours, or is that give you nothing?
Like, other than just like
that would have really completed what you were producing. Go on, go for it. What was you gonna say?
I mean, at the end of the day, bro, it's like what I was looking for interesting was like if there was like a jump within the show, like everyone tuned out for this or everyone tuned in for this.
Yeah.
Whereas the reality of it is, if we're being like brutally honest, but it drew like a 0.23. Like it's like how low is it gonna drop? You know.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
So it's like, and it's not. I'm not saying that as a person who's like, the ratings affect my enjoyment of it. I don't think anyone looks at ratings like that. But you know, it's like they're just the ratings aren't good now. They're just not. You know, it doesn't matter to me because I actually enjoyed the product, even though I didn't think Dynamite was a great show. But in terms of like general. In terms of general direction of where AEW is going as a promotion and the shows have been putting on in 2024, Dynamite and Collision, I do enjoy AEW anyway, so I don't give a fuck about the ratings in terms of my enjoyment, but you know, you did ask me because I did mention the ratings earlier, and I looked at it and I was just like,
there was
it's all low.
All right, I should check. Okay, Charlie, you have any final thoughts on Dynamite?
Probably the weakest of the year. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next week will probably be better. I think they announced something for it, but I can't remember off the top of my head. Copeland versus Penta, I think, was the match they've announced, which is hilarious on paper. We'll see how that actually goes. Yeah, I think that there was some good stuff, but sometimes they just have a bad episode, and that's okay. We have to review it, so we when we go segment by segment, we sound so negative overall. I think it was fine. It was just an episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. Folks, this has been a very special show. It's WrestleMania week. There's so much going on, and Montel WP said, let's go a tight 2:45 on the Dynamite review. I don't know why we're still here.
We have a lot
just looking down with shame.
It was a good bit, and I respect good bits, even if they're at my expense, and it is now 2:26 a.m. I have no choice but respect it. It is what it is.
Oh, I'm not doing that anytime soon either.
But with that in mind, we think it is very important that tonight of all nights, you give us the thumbs up. You subscribe to the WrestlePurists channel. You comment below whatever it is you want to say about this show. And I'm sure you have many things.
Mania weekend shows you're watching. Yeah. Leave a comment.
You could make a list. That's in right now, right? Whatever you want. Underneath this video, it will probably belong somewhere. Because if it's in professional wrestling, it was discussed at some point on tonight's show.
No, not that one. That one. No, where's the comment I wanted to put up? That one.
Okay.
Yes.
Do that too. Willow Nightingale. Absolutely. Comment wherever you want, but just comment something. Like,
Also,
subscribe. Also, yes.
that's what I say. I'm not always like this. If you're a first time viewer, I'm not always.
No, that's why it's funny. It's that analyst chair,
please
brother.
get that up
Yeah,
on Jess,
yeah.
you know.
All right, good.
Oh, we've got features coming out this weekend as well. Read
Yeah,
them.
let's do official plugs. Let's do official.
Charlie,
I'll get
Charlie,
mine
do you
up.
want to do like a proper plug for your not the one that you've already sent me, the one that you're going to send me?
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like you can explain it better on the stream than on
go
Twitch.
for it.
Yeah. Basically, I put out a survey at the beginning of this week. It's closed now. Please don't try and take it now. It's already done. About fan perception of WrestleMania. Because I wanted to write a feature about like how people feel about Mania season and like the show itself and that. But just writing it from my perspective is quite boring. So sent out a survey, asked some questions about it. Got over 200 responses, which is kind of insane. Thank you for that. It has made it kind of like gathering the data has been crazy because there was a lot to go through, but it's made writing the article a lot more interesting. So it's just going to be talking about how fans feel about WrestleMania season and like the perception of the show, especially this year, and what they're excited about and like all that sort of things. Like, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to read. It is kind of like an essay. I do feel like I'm back in university a little bit, but I've had fun with it. And it's a bit different to what I usually do. So I hope you guys will enjoy it when it's out.
Wonderful. So any other plugs, Chuck? I know I've got some stuff to plug, and then we'll let Monty take us home.
I don't think so. If you're going to be in Cardiff this weekend, I'll be there. I doubt anyone in our chat will be, but I'll be in Cardiff.
Well, hell. All right, folks, tomorrow night. I know we've got a preview show tomorrow, right, Money? We've got a preview show, but on the Late Night Grin...
Couple plugs.
Late Night Grin, we're doing a Supercard review and WrestleMania reviews over the weekend. So if you're interested, those will be live after the shows. Monty, do your plugs, do your promotions, and then take us home, mate. Go for it.
All right, so obviously the feature that Charlie just mentioned, kind of like perception of WrestleMania season, and that's all that good stuff will be a good one. Been real research and surveys. Can you imagine that? So that's one of them. We have a Sami Zayn feature by Caden that just dropped, talking about Sami Zayn being the ultimate underdog, of course, going into a match that fits that perfectly against Gunther at WrestleMania. We have a Bayley feature coming out. We have a Cody Rhodes feature out by Jamie. The Bayley feature is by Eric, who used to do our Raw results. Obviously, I'm sure some of you have noticed we don't do the results post anymore, and I want to give our good writers like an opportunity to be able to still like.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Agreed.
no!
The only way this could end, really, right? Very fitting.
Yeah, we got to give the good writers a platform to write because we have a lot of talented people on the team, and they get enough focus. There you go.
Okay. Sami Zayn feature dropped today. Bayley feature dropping tomorrow. Cody Rhodes feature and the WWE feature by Charlie will drop Saturday. Really hoping us up for WrestleMania. I was playing with the idea of doing a Cody Rhodes feature, but I've decided I'm not doing it now because I'm a coward. I might just do like a thread on Twitter, like you do. I'll go full back up hangman about Cody Rhodes. But yeah, guys, like, subscribe, check out those features I just mentioned. Check out our website, WrestlePurists.com. Check out our Twitter at WrestlePurists. Please make sure you like and subscribe on the way out. Thank you for all the super chats. Appreciate you guys for watching. Here's an awesome picture of Willow that we're going to leave you with.
Fair.
Oh, yes.
Fuck yeah. That's awesome.